Hi, I'm Kyle.
And I'm Trevor, and welcome to Catching Up on Cinema. If you're not familiar with the program, Catching Up on Cinema is a podcast wherein Kyle and I take turns introducing one another to movies. This month, the month of August 2019, we're doing a little something called Anime August. This is a special event on the program wherein Kyle has given me the reins to the programming this month. Basically, he's letting me pick all the movies, and for the entire month, we're just covering Japanese animated films. Largely, the reason for doing this is that Kyle has expressed interest in the medium to me in the past. He doesn't have too much of a background in anime, so I figured I'd use this month to kind of give him like an introductory course to the world of anime. So we've already covered a couple episodes already this month. First up, we did the OVA, the two-part OVA, Otaku no Video, animated by Studio Gainax. And then following that, we did Production IG's Ghost in the Shell. And today, we're going to be covering the first Hayao Miyazaki film, first and only Miyazaki film that we'll be covering this month. 1997's Princess Mononoke, which is, of course, a Studio Ghibli film. Uh, Kyle, if I throw the name Miyazaki at you, what does it mean to you, if anything?
Say it one more time.
Miyazaki?
Absolutely nothing.
Okay. So, this I think I explained that Kyle doesn't have much of a background in anime. This is exactly why we're covering the episodes that we're covering this month, because I'm trying to hit like basically all the big animation houses and all the big name directors all in one fell swoop. And no discussion about modern day anime is complete without mention of Hayao Miyazaki. He's kind of oftentimes thought of as like the Walt Disney of the Japanese animation world. Um, he's kind of like in the 60s and maybe even a little bit before, there was a fellow by the name of Osamu Tezuka, or Tezuka Osamu. He was the guy who made Astro Boy, oftentimes thought of as the father of anime and manga. Like he's the modern day like progenitor of anime as we know it today. And Miyazaki's like the next generation essentially.
Gotcha.
Um, he kind of specializes in feature films for the most part. Many of the themes in this film, Princess Mononoke, are like core to his oeuvre. Oftentimes deals with man's relationship to nature. Um, Studio Ghibli is famous for a couple of things in the animation world. Gorgeous animation, like gorgeous paintings for background scenery. Um, I think for the majority of their existence, they worked exclusively in hand drawn, hand painted animation. Um, and then also they're known for rendering food like uniquely well. Like they make food look absolutely gorgeous, and we didn't really get that in this film, unfortunately. But that is something they're famous for. And Miyazaki in particular oftentimes has pigs in his movie. It's just a thing he does. But yeah, personally, I haven't seen that many of his films. They're all gorgeous in their own way. But for me, he's. I know every product he makes is beautiful. Um, but I don't know, just not terribly personally attached to most of them. Some of them are absolutely gorgeous and like mean a lot to me. Like My Neighbor Totoro. I saw that in the theater as a little kid. My mom saw like an ad for it in the newspaper and was like, "Get in the car, we're going to go see this." And I was like, "Why?" She's like, "It's big in Japan. We're going to go see it." And to this day, I adore that film. In fact, I was debating maybe having you watch that instead of this. However, from a cultural standpoint, I thought this one might have more value to it. Um, and I don't know if you did any research about this film, but it's kind of like a pivotal film in the world of Japanese animation in the U.S. So it came out in 1997. It was released in the U.S. theatrically in 1999 by Miramax, by the Weinsteins, which is a big fucking deal. Like to have a Japanese animated film released in theaters. I think the incentive for Miramax to gobble up the distribution rights for the film was the fact that it was the highest grossing animated film in Japanese history at that point. So, the Weinsteins are definitely known for being shrewd businessmen. So that made sense from a business standpoint. But this was just not something you saw very often. A foreign animated film distributed like widespread theatrically in the U.S. Like, can you think of many examples of that?
I can't think of one.
Exactly. So it was a rarity, and it was up for all sorts of awards. I think it won the equivalent of the Japanese Academy Award in 1997. So it was a big fucking deal. And to their credit, maybe Harvey, no, maybe Bob more than Harvey, but to their credit, they did not fuck up the dub. They did release the film dubbed in theaters. This was 1999, so we weren't quite ready to subtitle our animated films. But the English voice cast and the performances were very good, actually. Claire Danes played Princess Mononoke, the titular Princess Mononoke. Minnie Driver was Lady Eboshi. Billy Crudup was Ashitaka. Billy Bob Thornton played Jigo, the little monk guy. And my two favorites, though, were Gillian Anderson as Moro, the wolf mother, and Keith fucking David as Okoto, the blind boar god.
Mm-hmm.
And to his credit, I think he topped the original Japanese voice actor, because there's one scene in particular that Keith David did something with his voice. It's the scene towards the very end of the film when the boar is starting to become cursed and is charging through the woods. He's like crying out to his fallen warriors, he calls them, basically all the dead boars. And he sounds delusional and terrified at the same time, where he sounds like maybe he's senile or something. And the Japanese voice actor, you didn't quite get that sense. He sounded more like he had more sense to him. Whereas Keith David's is just like haunting and like, whoa, he's gone off the deep end.
Yeah.
Plus, it's Keith fucking David.
Noted voice actor.
Yeah, noted. I mean, he's fucking Goliath from Gargoyles. He's I think he was in the Halo games.
Oh yeah, he's done a lot. You know his voice. I'm actually probably gonna watch Coraline later, and he's the voice of the cat in there.
I didn't know that. I haven't seen Coraline. Is that any good?
Oh yeah, for stop motion, yeah, it's really good.
Is that I love stop motion.
Yeah. Well, I like the story too. The story's cool. It's a creepy little movie. Like it's nice, and it takes. I can't remember where it takes place. I think it's in Oregon or Washington, or at least it's what it looks like. The opening scenes are really cool because it's like foggy Pacific Northwest look, and they're like drinking tea and it's raining. Well, yeah, it's on Netflix right now, so.
That means absolutely nothing to me.
No, that's right. You don't have the Netflix.
No, Coraline. I think that was maybe Laika Studios' first animated film. I could be wrong on that, but Laika's the same folks that did what was it, Paranorman, or is it the Box Trolls? Fuck, I can't remember.
I'm not sure.
And they for sure did Kubo and the Two Strings and that Sasquatch movie. I think it's like The Link or The Missing Link or something. Mm-hmm. They're a wonderful studio. I think I've mentioned before on the air. At the end of their movies, they do like the Jackie Chan outtake thing.
Oh, okay.
They do the stunt reel, but with animation. And have you seen Kubo and the Two Strings?
No, I haven't gotten around to it.
You might want to check that out. It's good times, and from a just pure aesthetic standpoint, it's so beautiful. The animation is crisp to the point of like, are you sure this is stop motion?
Yeah, I think that's what keeps deterring me. Is I'm like, I want to watch it, but I kind of like that James and the Giant Peach, where it's like kind of.
So you need a little bit of jank for it to feel real.
I like it. I like it to have a little bit of jank.
I feel you. No, I get it.
The Nightmare Before Christmas is like the best it can be, because it's still a little Nightmare Before Christmas is still a little janky, but James and the Giant Peach has definitely got some jank in it.
Yeah, but it's charming.
Coraline is closer to Kubo, I would say, but it's still not quite there. It's not quite as crisp.
Well, I mean, the tools available to stop motion animators are vastly superior to what they once were. Mm-hmm. It used to be just kind of like spackle and spit.
Yeah.
Just like we'll fucking we'll MacGyver this shit together and figure it out. Nowadays though, like computers are essential to everything they do. Things like wire removal, like if you're going, these are the things that I used to do when I was a fucking kid. Was how do I make someone jump in a stop motion animated film? It's like, well, I'm gonna tie him up on fishing line, and then find like the right angle to hide the fishing line.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, with computers and Photoshop, because you're animating still frames of animation, all you do is you just remove it. You smudge it out of the image.
Mm.
So things like that, computers factor into the process, and it used to be all done like physically, like pretty much in camera, in the moment. And it's come a long way. But what I wanted to say about Kubo is there's one character in there that's gigantic in comparison to all the other characters, and they built like a 20-30 foot tall puppet.
Oh wow.
And they stop motion animated that.
That is nuts.
It's insane. You need to see that. Even if you don't see the movie, you should probably just look that up because it's pretty fucking impressive. But anyway, we should probably talk about Princess Mononoke. Japanese title is Mononoke Hime, which basically means the same thing. Mononoke is it's kind of like a spirit or a monster, something in between. It's one of those esoteric terms that good luck 100% translating it. But we'll just there's a lot of terms in here that I'll probably just default to the English translation because it's probably going to get tiresome. Things like the name of the village and things like that. But yeah, this movie I think is absolutely gorgeous from an audio-visual standpoint. I feel like I say this about every animated film we cover on the show. But for me, I don't know. I feel something when I watch it, but it's not 100% engagement. Like it's not terribly important to me from a personal standpoint, but I value it for its images and its concepts, if that makes sense. So anyway, we should probably talk about the movie. It takes place in the Muromachi period of Japanese history, which was kind of a rough time. This was like the feudal era, kind of, where a lot of warlords were trashing each other constantly, and the government was kind of shaky. Which explains why there's a lot of scenes in this story where there's a bunch of samurai running around just fucking up peasants and stuff. It was kind of the style of the time. But because I was watching this on Blu-ray, it needs to be said that the Disney Corporation owns the exclusive U.S. distribution rights, maybe even just all the distribution rights outside of Japan for Studio Ghibli's films. So they put the Magic Castle right up front on this disc. So the first fucking thing you see when you start this movie is the fucking Disney Castle. And then we get a shot of some foggy mountains. And right out the gate, the background paintings are just killing it. Production IG, I think, I want to say maybe they have the title for the best and most intricately detailed background paintings in animation. But Ghibli's like right up there. And some of the renderings of the scenery are just absolutely gorgeous. And there's a long line of prologue text here that basically talks about man's relationship with nature and how long time ago the gods pretty much walked the earth and man's place was beneath that of nature. They tried to live in harmony, but definitely nature had a hand over man. I missed most of this because it was moving pretty fast. But then we have this shot like descending into the forest, and oh fuck, dude! Did you notice the music in this movie, Kyle?
I did. I put down nice score because I'm like, I know Trevor's gonna mention something about it.
Oh, Trevor's gonna mention it.
Yeah.
Trevor's gonna get right fucking into it because the composer of this film is Joe Hisaishi. Joe Hisaishi is the win button. Joe Hisaishi is broken. Like it's just not fucking fair. It's I've used this line before, but it's like putting AC/DC in a trailer for a movie. Mm-hmm. So it's gonna get your attention. It's gonna make you want to see it. It's like, God damn it, you hooked me. And yeah, his music is spectacular. Every movie he's worked on is just unbelievable. He's Japanese John Williams, basically. Just cannot miss. And this score in particular is maybe one of the best I've heard. It's in terms of musical scores from films that I've listened to straight through. I think Batman Returns holds the title. For a number of times I've played it back in its entirety. But this movie, Princess Mononoke, some of the melodies and the themes in this score are just some of the best I've ever heard. And it does that amazing trick that I know nothing about musical composition or theory, but it's this amazing trick where it makes you feel nostalgic listening to it, even if it's the first time you heard it. Where something about the melody feels familiar, even if it's not. And holy shit, this score. Look it up if you haven't heard it before. But yeah, as soon as we descend into the forest, the fucking strings kick in, and you're like, and we see the feet of some wormy tar creature. Like, that's my best description of it. A wormy tar creature smashing down some trees. Bam! Title card. And then we get introduced to our main character, Ashitaka, and his mount, Yaku, or Yakuru. What did you think of these two characters, Kyle?
I cannot stand Ash. He's so annoying in this movie. Part of this is like, he's such a fucking goody two shoes. Like, he's just constantly like, no, we're not going to kill each other. We absolutely can't kill each other. I'm going to go help her not kill that person. He's just constantly just being a fucking goody two shoes. We start off with him being awesome, and that's the other thing, is he's awesome at everything. So he was just annoying to me. The characters I do like come later. I loved his elk though. What is he? Elk, reindeer?
I don't know. I think it might be a fictional animal. I think they call it like a red elk, but
yeah,
the horns and the way that it moves kind of like a dog sometimes. It's not. It's something in between.
Yeah, it's about the size of an elk. So I'm just gonna go with the red elk. Yeah, I liked the red elk. He was cute. But yeah, no, I don't like Ash. He
You
really
don't like
annoyed me.
Ash?
I don't like Ash.
I'm inclined to agree. No, there is something to be said for a character that's too good. Like, the kids call that being a Mary Sue.
Yeah.
Or a Gary Stew.
Gary Stew, yeah.
He is a Gary Stew. And yeah, he has a bit of that. And it's a thing that oftentimes happens in anime. I don't entirely know the psychology or the philosophy behind it. But there's a line I toss out there when I'm making fun of my friends who are maybe a little bit more attached and in the know about anime, because I've mentioned it before. I've kind of been out of the game for a decade plus. Me and anime broke up a long time ago. But the line I throw out there is, if we try our best, we can do anything.
Pretty much.
Ash has that attitude. And I get frustrated with that because anime has a common theme that pops up in a lot of its stories, oftentimes dealing with the concept of war and man's inhumanity to man. And oftentimes the protagonist objects to this and somehow makes a monumental impact on the world around them, but in a way that would make no sense in the real world. One of my favorite anime series is Gundam. I've said it before. I will show up for Gundam. like that's the one anime that I will pay money and I will show up if they make a new one, pretty consistently. But they have this thing they do, and the entire concept of the show is it's about an ongoing galactic war, basically. But they do this thing with the protagonist where they'll be like, no, we need to find a way to make peace. And then they'll be sitting in a giant war machine fighting constantly from minute 1 to minute 90 of the movie, but then they'll find a way to not kill anyone. It's like, that's fucking bullshit. Do you know how much harder it is to fight someone and not kill them?
Did they see Braveheart?
No, it's the same objection I have to Captain America Civil War. It's like that whole airport sequence. You can't play fight. You cannot play fight. Like, it just doesn't work that way.
Don't get me started on that nerd.
And well, the one thing I do like about Ash is that he has a lot of setbacks. Even though his attitude remains the same from minute 1 to minute 135, this is a long movie. I do like that his curse does cause him to do things that maybe he doesn't want to do, and he has to deal with that.
See, I think it would have been better if they would have let his character die, like because of the curse. Like he actually has, he's on the clock. As soon as it happens, like, listen, you've got to get this quest done before you die. And they don't really do that, and they actually neutralize it. And
Yeah.
I was kind of disappointed with that.
Well, especially since he's at peace with it from the
Yeah,
beginning of the movie. He's ready
they
for it.
maybe if I mean, yeah, it would make more sense to write him struggling with it if he's actually gonna have to come to terms with it. But he's like
Yeah.
immediately, he's like, all right, I'm fine, I'm totally ready to die, and then he doesn't. I'm like,
No,
well, God
you're
damn it.
you're right. From a writing standpoint, that would have been, I think, more interesting if
Yeah.
you got to see him have like an emotional breakdown over it, where it's like, God damn it, we're at minute 90 of this 135-minute movie, and I still haven't removed this curse. But no, he's okay with it from the beginning. So it takes away some of the tension, I guess. A lot of it, in fact. But yeah, at this point in the movie, he's got a top knot. Very kind of important, I guess. It's a small detail, but important. And he's doing fucking parkour on the rock wall. That's another. I've noticed that's like a thing with Miyazaki. It might just be a Studio Ghibli thing more so than a Miyazaki thing, because he's just a director. Studio Ghibli makes films outside of just him. In fact, there was a funny period in the studio's history where his son Goro was in position to like subsume his role as like the creative lead for the studio, but then Hayao Miyazaki was like, "Nah, son, you ain't ready."
Ready.
And he came out of retirement and he was like,
Jesus.
"Son, you're fucking it up. You ain't ready for the keys to the castle." It was fucking hilarious.
That's bad.
But I think it might be a Studio Ghibli thing where a lot of their central characters in particular are very fleet of foot, and they move with a confidence and like ease of motion it's not realistic, but it's really cool to watch. Where it's like, holy shit, I wish I could move like a gymnast and like a ninja, basically. Because
like
some
a
of
water-
the jumps that these people take are like, oh my god, he is so dead.
It's kind of like a watered down superhero. Like it's
Yeah,
we're not
yeah.
saying superhero, but like they have super abilities.
Yeah, it's like they're able to move in a way that's like they have zero fear about taking a bad step or something like that. Like you don't get many scenes in Studio Ghibli movies where people are like doing the cliffhanger thing and like trying to move along like a slight like escarpment, or like, oh my god, it's a sheer cliff. How am I going to get up? It's like, no, they just kind of like bounce up the wall. What
Yeah.
the fuck? So yeah, at this point, the wise woman at the village, at Ash's village, his name is Ashitaka, but I'm gonna keep calling him Ash because
Ash is just
fun.
easier. Yeah.
Yeah. The
You,
wise woman
you,
at the village.
the Japanese names and words just glide right out of view. For me, it's not as easy.
Okay, well, going forward, we'll find a way. I'll give you both the English name and the Japanese name, and we can just we'll play it by ear. So the wise woman at the village wants everyone to head back because there's some shit going down, and Ash runs into some girls with some funny hats. I'm guessing these are historically accurate. I'm not sure, but he's like, "Hey, get back to the village. There's something bad happening." And Ash just quickly scales this lookout tower, and there's an old man seated up there.
I like
And,
the scaling of I did like the scaling of the lookout tower. I was paying attention for this. I'm like, okay, I see him. They show like a view of it, and they imply that he's about to climb up this thing. So he just swings by on the red elk, and they do the whole thing. He climbs up the ladder real quick, and then it goes into there's only a little bit of ladder at the bottom, and then it's like the actual architecture of the tower that he's climbing. And there's places for him to put his feet. And I was paying attention. I'm like, I want to see how he's going to climb this. I thought it was pretty good.
It's really cool to watch.
Yeah.
Like, because the drawings, like the way it's animated, people move like people.
Yeah.
But they move
Quick.
without like a sense of fear and with inhuman agility. But like the physics of the way their body moves, it's pretty accurate. So
Yeah.
it's like, wow, if only I could move like that.
Right.
It makes me think of those mountain villages. I can't remember what part of Asia, but I've seen like documentaries about it where basically it's like a mountain village that everything's on an incline, so the
Yeah.
people have just kind of like developed a physiology and a sense of balance to the point that they can negotiate it no problem. So you see like women carrying babies in baskets on their back, like walking along a sheer cliff, like with zero fear, because this is something they've been doing for generations. It's
Is it
nuts.
is it those like those villages where it takes the kids 2 hours to climb down a mountain and across like a suicide rope bridge just to get to school in the morning?
Yeah, basically, it's
Oh,
like the Thunderdome village or something. um, but yeah, Ashitaka or Ash
Ash.
bugs the old man who's sitting up in the tower, and an old man is concerned. Like he's like, "There's something out in those woods. We got to be ready for it." And Ash immediately knocks an arrow again with such confidence and speed that's like, he does this a lot. He's quick on the draw. Um, and then we get this really cool shot of it's like a rock wall that they've built at the edge of the wilderness, like of the woods, and we see some sort of tarry substance start to like poke through the cracks in the rocks, and I think we see a couple of flashes of red eyes, and then there's a pause, a nice beat, and then boom, like the rock wall just gets smashed, and this wormy tar beast, I don't know what else to call it, it comes running out of the forest, and it needs to be said, everything it touches decays and like rots instantaneously. So this thing is not safe to be around at all. And the old man immediately declares that it's a demon, and he's like, "Do not fucking touch it." Like number one, don't touch the wormy tar beast that decays everything it touches. It's like, noted, old man. Um, but yeah, as soon as it jumps out of the woods, it pauses for a second, despite coming out with all that bluster, and all the worms are. I'm struggling to define exactly what they are, because it needs to be said that in terms of coloration, they're like purplish black. They're like viscous and gooey, but they look like snakes or worms or lampreys.
It moves somewhat like an anemone, like something in a coral bed, and I think it's just supposed to be off-putting and kind of gross. It reminds me of like something that would grow in garbage, kind of maggoty is what I took it as. But you keep saying Ash, and I keep thinking Ash versus the Evil Dead, and now I can't not think of Bruce Campbell doing like a Space Jam in this movie where he's
Well,
actually
I mean,
trying.
he did it once.
Yeah, that's what the whole show is him hunting demons, and like he would actually fit here as this character, except he would just be calling everybody babe.
Yeah. I mean, he'd decapitate one of these samurai later in the movie and be like, "Hail to the king, baby."
Yep, pretty much. Yeah.
So I need to ask Kyle. Army of Darkness
Mm-hmm.
would be the equivalent of that. In Ash versus Evil Dead, does he do that again? Does he ash his way into another dimension or time?
No, so he watched the first episode of Ash vs. the Evil Dead 'cause it's pretty funny. So what he does is this is after Army of Darkness. He's back in the real world, we're present day, and demons just start popping up out of nowhere, and he's just like, "Well, that's weird. I don't know why they're popping up," and he's like, and then he kind of thinks back, and he lives in a trailer at this point, but he's hanging out with a lady in the trailer, and he's drunk and smoking weed, and he's like, "I'll read from it. I don't care." He's got the book.
Oh no! Oh my god!
So he was cross-faded and read from the book, and he's like, damn. Like he's like, I brought
Probably
them all
shouldn't have
back.
done that.
Oh, it's so fun. It's a great way to open the show, because I'm like,
That's pretty good.
It's like, I need to continue watching it. I'm on Mad Men now, so it's hard to get anything else going.
That'll happen.
But yeah, it's present day. Towards your time though, it's fun.
Okay. So yeah, the wormy tar beast, it jumps out of the forest, and then the worms or the eels or the lampreys or whatever you want to call them, they like jump off of this thing for a second, and we see that it's a giant boar, but it's covered in this crap, and it only takes a few seconds for the worms to like land back on top of it. So we can tell that whatever has this shit on it, this boar is not happy about it. So it's trying to shake him off, but can't. Um, but yeah, it has these frightening red eyes, and again, the score kicks into high gear here, and the theme for the demon beasts, like the demon gods in this movie that pops up every time these things are on screen, is frightening and very effective. And it takes off. Like it starts smashing through the tall grass or the long grass. Don't go into the long grass.
Don't go into the long
grass. And it makes a beeline for Ash's village. I noted here that Ash has to shoot an arrow at Yakul to get his red elk to run. Like it freezes for a second as this thing's running straight at it. Mm-hmm. And it smashes through the lookout tower. He gets on Yakul, and he gives chase. He's chasing this demon god towards the village, and his first course of action is actually to like get out in front of it and talk to it. Like he's yelling at it, basically like stop. And the language he uses here is kind of indicative of the times we're in, where it's like people have animistic beliefs where it's like everything has a spirit to it. Like we have a way of communicating with or paying tribute to everything, so I'm going to try that. So he pleads with it to stop. It doesn't give a fuck. And there's this really cool shot here. It's like chase cam, I called it, where he's running in front of it, and this thing it moves so fucking fast, but it's basically chasing him through the long grass, and the animation here is ultra crisp, like more so than other instances in the film. This film is gorgeous from top to bottom, but there are instances, and this happens in 2D animation, where it's like important shots need to be animated like 10 times better than the other shit, like dialogue scenes and stuff like that. And this would be an instance where it's like, okay, you guys go cram yourself in the back office and just do the chase cam. Like for the next 2 months, that's all you're fucking doing. But yeah, do you remember how Ash finally resolves this situation?
He shoots it in the fucking face. He's like gets him right in the eye, and he's like, I'm gonna keep going. He gets one eye, and I'm like, okay, you gotta shoot it in the fucking eye to kill it, I suppose. Notice that when it's in this, like, I'm gonna call it Venom suit, because it's more or less what it is. Symbiote. Yeah, it's like a symbiote. He's got 8 legs. It's got 8 legs when it's in this in the symbiote form. But he shoots it in the eye, and you get like that. It moves off of the boar's face, and you can see the boar again. And then he, of course, Robin Hoods it again, just right into the eye, and he ends up defeating the disgusting thing. Boars scare the shit out of me, by the way. They're way too big, and I don't like them. This is effective for me. Like the boars in this were creepy, I have to admit.
Yeah. Yeah, no joke. Miyazaki, like I said, boars and pigs are a recurring motif in a lot of his films, and the way he has his animators render them. And by the way, as an animation director, apparently he actually draws a lot of the animation himself.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, gets in the trenches. The way that he renders pigs is...
Does he also cut his own hair?
Probably. He has a signature haircut.
Sucks his own dick. He cuts his own hair, sucks his own dick.
I mean, he's a very old man, so like he's probably been taking care of himself. I would not doubt if he was limber enough to pull that off. Yeah. But the way he renders pigs, it's like they have like a half measure extra detail to them than other animals. I don't know, like maybe he has an affinity for them, but it's eerie how you have this one type of animal or one type of character that is more detailed than the others, and it just makes it unsettling in some way.
Well, I think boars are an interesting just animal in general, because they're one of the few animals that can keep us out of the top part of the food chain, and it's not one that we would normally think of, because a boar will fuck you up. They're big, and they're not nice, and they smell awful. I mean, Hannibal, for crying out loud. That's one of the most effective scenes in that movie is the boars. But I remember thinking back to when we did the Apocalypse Now documentary, Hearts of Darkness, and you remember the scene I'm talking about where they're watching the animals be sacrificed in the middle of the day, and that tribesman is just stabbing a pig straight up, and we see it and hear it screaming. and it's fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
I didn't really notice quite a bit. I mean, there is definitely pig noises, but were they legit pig noises, or was it Frank Welker?
I think it was Japanese Frank Welker.
Japanese Frank Welker. Okay, that's what
Yeah,
I thought. I'm like,
I think so for the most part.
because that would have been an effective. Like if they would have used like pigs screaming in this, it would have been even creepier. Because the way they animate them in this is really good, I think.
Yeah, no, across the board, but yeah, for some reason his pigs are always rendered very well, and like, I want to keep talking about this because it's fascinating to me. But I think part of what makes boars and pigs so creepy is their teeth, the construction of their teeth, and their mouths, and the fact that they're omnivorous and they have a no fucks given attitude about what goes into their mouth. So, like, say you're being stalked by a tiger or attacked by a tiger. You know that that's a carnivore from top to bottom. It's designed solely for that purpose. Like, the construction of its mouth and its teeth, it's meant to eat meat. Like, that's what its mouth is designed for. A pig, though, is designed to eat whatever is in front of it. So if it attacks you, like, if it's coming after you, it's not because that's what it's designed for. It's basically just kind of coming at you and seeing you as just mud, basically.
Yeah.
So the intention, I think, is what makes them creepy. It's like you're being mauled by a garbage disposal as opposed to like a part of the circle of life or something.
I mean, cats will fuck with you. Like, we'll most likely, if we get attacked by a tiger, tiger's gonna bite our jugular and we're done, pretty much.
Exactly.
But other cats will actually mess with their food for a little bit before it dies. A boar, I don't know. They might just start eating your foot. And
I don't think the intention is to kill you.
No.
That's what I mean. I think the intention would be different, where it's like they're just grabbing parts of you and just taking bites, basically. Whereas a tiger, like, it has generations upon generations of evolution that tell it to just kill it and then eat it.
Yeah.
They're a hunter. Whereas a pig, it's just like, oh, that guy's injured and laying down. I'm just gonna run up and bite whatever I see. If he's screaming, I don't give a fuck. I'm just gonna keep biting. I'm gonna keep biting until I'm full, not until he's dead. Until I'm full.
Ugh,
which I think is terrifying. By the way, there's a Korean monster movie that I haven't seen, but it's called Cha, and it's about a giant boar. Maybe look it up.
Ooh, oh, I think I've seen that popping up here and there. I might look into that because I saw the front cover for it.
Yeah, I think it had a pretty big name director attached to it too. So it's like a Lake Placid situation where it's like this had more money put into it than you would expect.
I'm trying to sit through Lake Placid. I got about halfway through. I'm like, okay, I can't do it anymore.
Come for the Gleason, stay for the Platte.
Yeah, you come for the Gleason, stay for the Platte.
Actually, no, scratch that.
Reverse it.
Stay for the Bridget Fonda.
Oh, I forgot she's in there. She's oddly hot. I don't get it.
She got perfect nose and just cool. She's got a great mouth. Like, she does things with her mouth. They're just really cool. It's like Chris Pratt's hands. It's like he just does cool stuff with his hands.
I didn't know it's Chris Pratt. I don't want to watch any more of his movies. I'll watch the third Star-Lord movie and then I'm out.
That's third Star-Lord movie.
All I've got left for Marvel is when I get that.
I mean, that might end up being the Thor show guest starring Star-Lord.
That's totally fine. That's the smartest thing they've done with that franchise.
Honestly,
was
yeah.
like, put Thor with the Guardians. I'm like, perfect. That's
great.
They're the best. They're the best. The best part. Sorry. Anyway, let's move along. So Ash, he ends up getting his arm nicked by this disgusting piece of shit, but not before he ends up killing it. He does kill it, and he goes over to it, and the thing starts talking shit to him. He's like, "You disgusting little fucker! Like, I'd kill the fuck out of you if I wasn't dying." And
if you didn't shoot me between the eyes with a fucking arrow,
if you didn't shoot me in the fucking head, I'd kill you. And he's just kind of talking some shit on his way out, and Ash is like, "Well, what's the problem, bro? Like, well, we're not vibing. What was the deal?" And he's just like, he makes a gross noise and he decays. And he's giving off immediately you can tell that he stinks, and it looks like he stinks. I was thinking that the boar had been dead for a while when this symbiote took over, but I'm not really led to believe that. That's just how I took it when I first saw it. But he's got something wrong with his hand, and we don't demonstrate what that causes him here. I think he goes back with the old woman, correct?
Yeah, actually, I got a kick out of this. After the boar dies, or right before the boar dies, actually, the wise old woman from the village arrives on the scene, and the way she shows up is a man is piggybacking her.
Yeah.
And he just like runs in with this old lady on his back. It's adorable.
She weighs like 90 goddamn pounds. Like,
Not
you got
even.
it.
She's like 78 pounds.
She's like fucking Yoda. She's the size of Yoda.
Yeah, I mean, her character model kind of looks like him too. She got big ears. But yeah, you need to note here that like all the villagers that come out to see the big boar, everybody's got top knots, and you can tell there's like some shamanistic or like animistic beliefs among them. So this is
They're
is the
fucking
Muromachi
hippies.
period. This is like what 1300s through like the 1500s. So this was a long time ago. And these are people that live in the woods, basically, so that their beliefs are a little different.
Yeah.
So they're all kind of reverent towards the boar, even though it talks some shit.
She fucking bows to him. She's like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
after it
boy."
shit talks her, and
Yeah.
she's like, "It's okay."
It's okay.
Yeah, it's like somebody dropping an F-bomb in front of their grandma. So she's like, "Oh, okay, he'll just be that way. You know, that's just his way. He's a good boy." It's like, no, grandma. He's got diseases, and he wants to kill people.
He's gross, Grandma.
But yeah, we cut to night, and
Yeah.
Ash is having an audience with like all the village elders. Everybody's really quiet as the old woman is casting stones. So she's doing like fortune telling, basically, with a bunch of shiny stones.
Yeah.
And she divines that the boar came from the west. And the way she phrases this, it's like, the west is pretty far from here. So a different part of the country. How it got here, we don't know. But she mentions that something inside of the boar poisoned him. And then Ash pulls out, he bandages his arm immediately. And in fact, he's like yelling at, I think, his sister and some of the other villagers, do not fucking touch it. It's not a normal wound. So everybody seems to understand that. Like, it's accepted that this wound is different. It's not a flesh wound, it's a curse of some sort. And everybody in the room seems to understand that this wound on his arm, which by the way is rendered as like almost like cancerous, like purple sores, basically.
Yeah,
Like it looks like
gross.
looks like he has a botched tribal tattoo, but like rendered in like pink and purple. It's like curled all around his forearm. And apparently it means certain death. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but no matter what, he is going to succumb to this curse and die.
Yeah.
And major plot revelation here is that the old woman rolls an iron ball onto the floor, and she says, "This is what we found inside the boar corpse. It was causing him great pain, and somehow it made him evil." She advises him to seek out the source of the ball. Maybe he can find a way to reverse his curse, maybe not, but it's probably a good idea to check it out. We, the audience, can figure out pretty quickly that's not just a ball of iron, that's probably a bullet.
I did
And
not
yeah,
piece that together.
Oh, you did not?
No. Well, because
that's cool.
at this point we don't have guns, like, so it didn't make any sense. So it just seemed like a lead ball that he had inside of him.
Well, see, that probably made this more interesting for you, because you're like, that's interesting, and then later on we get shown improper what it was.
Well, I mean, she's like, this is probably what killed him. I'm like, no, the gross shit was killing him, and then Ash killed him. So I don't know what the significance of this piece of iron is yet. So okay,
He succumbed to the Brock Lesnar disease, the diverticulitis or whatever. But yeah, the name of these people, by the way, his tribe, they're called the Emishi, and they're like, I want to say native Japanese. Ainu are like the big ones that I know of. Emishi are, I think, like, it's uncertain if they're related to them, but basically it's like native Japanese. So some sort
Native
of tribe
American
from
kind of like a
yeah,
yeah, gotcha.
I mean, they had indigenous people. They have indigenous people.
I did not
usually
know.
Ainu.
I did not know that Japan had indigenous people.
Like all indigenous people, they have gotten the shaft. They still exist.
Shocker.
No, they still exist, but they've kind of been buried by the culture around them. But yeah, his people are the Emishi, and it's mentioned here that the emperor has just like smashed their culture and their people, so they're on their last legs as a society and a culture. And there's an old man in the room that laments that, like, so Ash, our prince, from our thinning bloodline, because of our long traditions, he has to go off in exile now. Basically, if you leave the village, it's my understanding that you just can't come back.
Yeah.
So they make him cut his top knot.
Yeah, cut your man bun, cover your face up. Nobody touch him or look at him, and get the fuck out. All right. But it's really nice. She's really polite about it. She's like, "Oh, cut your bun. You gotta fucking leave. No one look at him." He does. He does. No protest. He's just like, "Yeah, I get it. I've got to go. I got to go die." And
yeah, his sister stops him at the gate, though. She's not supposed to.
She gives him a dark crystal. She's like, "Here, take this so you don't forget me." And he's like,
no, she gives him the thing from the Super Mario Brothers movie to the meteorite fragment.
No, I haven't seen that.
We're doing that for the show, Kyle.
We should do that for. I think that we can do it. St. Elmo's Fire, Batman v Superman, Mario Brothers. Because I'm assuming it's not a good movie, from what I understand.
No, it is not a good movie.
Because we need to do our favorite bad movies. I just need to find one for myself. I think we've just about gotten it.
I'll keep thinking about it. Maybe I can think of something for you. But yeah, she gives him a crystal dagger, and then he takes off. And my favorite piece of music maybe in the whole movie plays. It's called literally Journey to the West, because he is journeying to the West. You can also take it as Ash's theme. It's fucking beautiful. It's now daytime. We get some Peter Jackson-esque traveling scenes among the mountains. It's a montage of him and Yakul wandering through the wilderness. Gorgeous backgrounds here. And then I think the last shot of the montage is him crossing a river in his undies.
Yeah.
Which is cute.
Yeah, he's just going across in his undies.
And at this point, Ash comes to a hillside overlooking a burning village, and he starts to descend in there while riding Yakul. There's some carnage going on here that it needs to be said. The character models in this movie are typical Ghibli style / Miyazaki style. I mean that in watching this 2-hour plus long movie, you probably noticed that a lot of the faces for the characters have a similar construction. Mm-hmm. Like they have a look to them. It's a pretty consistent style. It's a very friendly style. But some of the violence in this movie is pretty fucking brutal. The carnage that we see here is like a bunch of samurai or bandits or something attacking a village, setting it on fire. And I just happened to notice this time that there's like a man on the ground and someone with like a naginata, which is basically like a katana on a spear, like on a long wooden shaft. He just like jacks this guy's arm. It's like, oh fuck. And immediately they start shooting arrows at Ash. And did you note some of the shit that he does to these people?
Yeah, he shoots a dude's head off.
Not only that, he shoots a guy's arms, plural, off. Like arms. So basically, a guy is holding a sword above his head, and I think Ash shoots him in the forearm bracers. So like, he hits the guy in the arm, but he shoots the arrow with such force that it tears his arms off, like at the elbow, like both of them, and pins them to a tree. I was like, oh, that guy just got fucked.
Yeah.
But yeah, it needs to be said, his cursed arm, like it spazzes out and bulges and apparently gives him superhuman strength. So when he shoots arrows, he shoots the fuck out of those arrows. And holy shit, the sound of the arrows whizzing through the air and the animation applied to them is really fucking good. The sound in particular is just stunning. It has this amazing whistle, and it has velocity to it that's like, it's pretty foreign to see done so well. But yeah, he saves an old woman and kills the fuck out of a couple dudes. And then he shows up at a city of some sort, or a town, or a large town. And this is where we get introduced to the character of Jigo. He's a squat like frog-faced monk guy who like I had mentioned at the top of the broadcast was voiced by Billy Bob Thornton quite well in the English dub for the film. But yeah, Ash is trying to buy some shit, but his currency, like I guess the currency they use in his village, is a lump of fucking gold. And the monk immediately notices that. The woman that Ash is trying to buy shit from actually doesn't take it, but the monk Jigo is just like, "Oh, I'm gonna keep this kid around."
Do you remember Beverly Hills Ninja when he goes into the hotel and he's like, I'd like to get a room. And he's like, well, unfortunately, we don't take wampum. Like just being a dick to him. And he's like, do you perhaps take gold? And he drops like a shit ton of gold coins, like way more than he needs for a room. This kind of reminded me of that because he hands her this gold and she's like, what the fuck? I don't take this. And gross dude's like, dude, this is gold. I'll take it off your hands. It's going to cost, you know. He's been like, immediately I'm like, okay, this guy's sketch.
Well, it also brings to mind Wayne's World when he buys the guitar. Duke some cash?
Do some cash.
Cha-ching. Kyle, have you ever heard of Little Nemo?
I've heard of Finding Him.
No, no. Little Nemo was this newspaper comic. I think it was like a news strip. It was by a fellow by the name of Winsor McCay. It was in like the 1900s, so this is old shit.
Yeah.
Really, really well rendered, but basically, there was a animated film of it that I watched a lot when I was a kid. And one of the central characters to the Little Nemo story is this little clown by the name of Flip. If I remember right, he was voiced by Mickey Rooney.
Did you hit your head and forgot that you watched Finding Nemo? Because literally they're clownfish.
Well,
and the one kid's got a bad flipper. That's like the whole thing.
Okay, maybe there's some similarities that I hadn't considered.
Some overlap with somebody named Dory in there too.
Potentially. I mean, that does sound like a 1900s name.
They find her later, if you were wondering. That's fine.
You know, I don't know anyone who's seen that.
I actually own it. Oh,
really?
Finding Nemo was a big deal, and I have a girlfriend, so we have it. We have Finding Dory.
Oh, that's sweet. Is it good? Like,
I remember liking it. I haven't watched it. I haven't watched it more than once. The first time I watched it, I'm like, yeah, it was fine. It was good. I mean, if you liked Finding Nemo, you'd probably like Finding Dory too.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I'd probably like it then because I really liked Finding Nemo. Nemo.
Everybody did.
But yeah, I just wanted to throw out there because I was just curious if you'd seen Little Nemo because it has a mixed reputation. I think it was actually animated by a Japanese studio, but it was produced for an international audience. But yeah, the character Flip is immediately who came to mind in reference to Jigo. He has a very similar relationship to Ash as a Flip has to Nemo, where he's just this little clown fucker that is always... He's like the little devil that sits on his shoulder. He's the guy that gets him into trouble all the time. And it makes for good storytelling in Little Nemo. But in this case, they didn't really do that because, like you had said, Ash has way too much integrity and never, ever fucking bites for what Jigo's trying to serve up to him. So, again, it leads to a complete and total lack of tension from a character standpoint. Which is something I hadn't considered, but you're entirely right. But yeah, they buddy up. Jigo notes that some cutthroats are like tailing them as they're exiting the city, and they happen to see the gold that Ash was throwing around town. So he's like, we should probably take off. So they take off running. They put up camp, and they eat some porridge at night, some rice porridge. And we have an interesting conversation here where Jigo, who, by the way, I don't think has a name until about the 90-minute mark of this movie. So at this point, he's just Monk. He's very, like, intensely nihilistic. Like, his belief is, pretty much, like, most people are bad. Everything's the only thing that is sure is that everyone's going to end up dead at some point. So what we do in between maybe isn't that important. He does seem to really like his porridge, though. But yeah, he has a choice quote here where everybody dies. Some now, some later. So right up front, we know his attitude is maybe a little different from Ash, who seems like forever optimistic and hopeful to some extent. And Ash shows him the iron ball that the old woman had given him, and the monk immediately recognizes it as something. At this point, I guess the audience, we don't really know that it's a bullet. Only I knew it was a bullet, apparently. But yeah, he tells Ash, like, there's this mountain village, head off to it. By the way, there's this crazy forest where all the animals are giant, like they used to be in ancient times. He mentions this very casually, by the way. So he basically says it's going to be a rough journey if you go there, but this village in the mountains probably has some answers for you. So we have a new destination. And in the morning, Ash ditches Jigo. However, Jigo sees him take off and is like, yeah, I'll catch up to you later. Wink, wink. And then we get to a caravan. It's raining in what looks like a burned out forest. Like, it looks like it was either burned down or like maybe had a natural wildfire or something. And we're introduced to a couple of really important characters here. Lady Eboshi, who I think, as I mentioned, was voiced by Minnie Driver in the English dub. Quite well, in fact. And then her bodyguard, Gonza, who is... I couldn't help but think of Tatsu from Ninja Turtles.
That's exactly who I was thinking of, too. That's exactly who I had in mind.
Yeah, ninja vanish. Yeah. And every other line is just grunts.
Never lower your eyes to an enemy.
Yeah. And then the rest of his lines consist of punching children.
Yeah, he beat the shit out of some kids. Yeah,
yeah, he's good at it.
He's a child army, like Chang in Community.
Hang on, what?
You need to watch that show. It's just you need to do it.
Kim Jong or like Ken Jong has a child army.
Yeah, he's crazy in the show, but he goes crazier and recruits a child army.
I do need to see this show. But yeah, would you mind walking us through this scene here? This is where the wolves show up for the first time in the movie. And,
yeah, I had some.
They're coming after Lady Eboshi.
I had some question marks, and I was like, okay, what the fuck is happening now? So there's some wolves, and there's a person on one of the wolves, and they're basically running across the mountain, going directly for this caravan. A what? Caravan. They're going for the caravan. Snatch. Sorry. Yeah. So they have fucking guns, and I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, they're cannons. It's just like a musket, more or less. Like, it's the same idea. They're like, we gotta shoot at them. They're wolf gods. I'm like, wait, what? They're wolf gods? Like, okay, man. So this big wolf just starts blasting through the caravan, knocks some people off the mountain, and they end up shooting the wolf, and the wolf ends up falling off. And they're like, "Oh, cool, we got him." And the leader's like, "No. It's a wolf god. They'll be back. Like that's not enough to kill him." But yeah, what's his face? Ash ends up coming across some of the people that fell off the mountain, and he ends up helping them out.
Yeah, Ash scoops some people out of it's a waterfall / river. And as he's pulling them out of the water, though, he happens to witness the wolf god, whose name is Moro, by the way, voiced by Gillian Anderson in the English dub. And fun fact, voiced by a man in the Japanese version, a man with kind of a asexual voice. I think they're a voice actor that's actually known to do that. Doubles as an old woman despite being an old man. It's like a Japanese tradition that wolves all have male voices, even if they're female. It's a thing. But it's one of the more divisive choices. It's like, from a cultural standpoint, like, even I kind of furrowed my brow at that. I was like, this sounds weird, because I saw this movie originally dubbed, and Gillian Anderson does a very good job. She has a viciousness in her voice that's appropriate. Some of the dialogue the wolves have in this movie it's written very well because it sounds like the mentality of a carnivore or like a predator as opposed to a human. So it's kind of like condescending and arrogant and just vicious. But yeah, we see a woman dressed in like some sort of animal pelt, earrings, fancy necklace, face paint up the ass, and she's sucking blood out of the wolf god's neck wound where they were shot.
That's pretty fucking gross.
It's pretty fucking gross.
Pretty
and
fucking
by the way,
gross.
this wolf god is like the size of Bruce the shark.
He's fucking
it's like
huge.
a 20. Yeah, it's like a 25.
It's a dire wolf. Like it's the things from Twilight, the Twilight movies, the big wolves.
No, it's that those are the cubs or the pups. Like the wolf god, considerably more.
Yeah, the wolf god is about the size of an elephant. It's huge.
Yeah, it's gigantic. But she turns around, this gal, and she shoots Ash a look, like not a friendly look.
No.
He doesn't seem to pick up on what she's laying down though. But
hey, you're hot. What is this place?
He basically does that. He's like, hey, my name's Ash. Want to be friends?
Over here. Fucking C-3PO in episode 4.
Yeah, this Jawas don't want to be your friend.
No. Fuck. Hey, idiot. Sound travels across water. Jesus.
But yeah, he tries to get her attention. She does not give a fuck. And then he heads back to the survivors, and we get introduced to I guess they're like the mascot of this film, the Kodama.
I like the Kodama. They're creepy. They're little. Yeah. They're called tree spirits. They look like little ghost aliens, and they don't talk. They make this clicking noise, and they just kind of move their heads, and their heads kind of. I don't think they spin. They just kind of shake back and forth. They're kind of like. Those little things from The Mummy Returns, if you remember.
Fuck!
Those little thingies.
The little pygmy mummies?
Yeah, the little pygmy mummies. Man, I gotta watch Coraline. These are what made me want to watch Coraline, because they don't really fit into this movie. They look like they would be in something else. They look just like little ghosts. And I really like these little things. I wish they had more to do in the movie. They're just kind of there. They don't really do anything.
Okay, so yeah, the Kodama, they do this thing with their head where they like tilt it to one side, and it's almost like a spring or a ratchet or something, where their head snaps back the other direction. It just kind of like rattles. It's really cute, and it needs to be said, they don't have like strictly human anatomy, but they do have butts. Like they have butt cheeks.
I didn't even notice that.
They're lovingly rendered. But yeah, their body shape is like that of a baby or something, and there's tons of them. They're all over the place, and they're so fucking cute. Some people think they're really creepy. I think they're cute.
They're creepy.
But both. Ash notes that the fact that there's a lot of them here means that this forest is healthy. So he's excited to see them, whereas the survivors he's pulling along, the one guy is basically unconscious, and the other one is just babbling up a storm, and he's freaking out. Like he's terrified about being in this forest in particular. He does mention that he saw an enormous deer creature. Put a pin in that. Ash also says though that Yakul isn't scared, so basically I'm not going to be, because I trust my mount. And they trek through the woods. The Kodama are kind of like escorting them. Ash knows that he doesn't actually know if they're leading him anywhere in particular, but he's choosing to follow them. Mm-hmm. And then we come into this like gorgeous mossy forest clearing. Man, the way it's rendered is beautiful. And by the way, one of Miyazaki's earlier films, Nausicaa, Kaze no Tani no Nausicaa, the Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. It's like a sci-fi story involving a toxic Earth, and like the entire planet is covered in like toxic gas, and there's giant bugs everywhere. You might like it, Kyle. It's like Mad Max with giant bugs, kind of. Some of the forest imagery makes me think of that, so it was an earlier film in his filmography. But we come to this mossy clearing, and Ash sees some giant wolf tracks, which doesn't make him nervous, curiously enough. And then he sees something that I wrote in my notes as dinosaur tracks, because it looked like what like a little kid would do at the beach when they're like pretending there's like dinosaurs walking in the sand.
Yeah.
It's just like a crescent moon bottom with like 3 toes. And it looks childish. And there's this one shot in here that this is the first time I ever noticed it, but it's like a pan from left to right, and it is long. Like, it is so long. It's many, many seconds long, and this is something you wouldn't think about if you're making like a live action film, because just you're turning the camera. In animated film, that means that the background painting had to be that long. Somebody had to render this image probably on a gigantic canvas or something. So from a technical standpoint, that's like, fuck, dude. Like, someone chose to make someone do that. Some asshole made someone paint that. And then we get our first glimpse of the quote-unquote spirit of the forest. It's from a great distance, but there's like golden backlighting, and we see a bunch of deer and then a really big fucking deer with gigantic horns or antlers. And when he sees it, Ash's arm freaks the fuck out.
Yeah, his arm starts wiggling.
Yeah, so he sticks it in the water and kind of waits it out, and nothing really comes of it. But then we get out of the woods, and we come across the fortress / town. It's a Tatara, or we can just call it Iron Town. Yeah, let's call it Iron Town. And Iron Town is one of the central, like, more significant locations in the movie. So you want to describe what it looks like, Kyle?
It's at the base of a mountain, right on a lake. It looks like something out of Braveheart, basically. It's got the big logs with spikes on them, and it's got a long driveway to get up there. It's probably a nice little place to live. Probably very scenic.
Yeah, from a distance it looks very inviting. From the inside it looks like maybe a little industrial, but as we'll see in a bit, the populace is pretty happy with the arrangement.
Yeah.
So they're coming down the hill towards the town, and it looks like it's like security is of prime concern. Like you said, there are log spikes sticking out all over the base of the village. They have a single entry point. It's like essentially a drawbridge, and there are like guard towers posted, so we can tell that this place is well guarded. But Koroku, the ox driver who Ash had saved, starts calling out to the populace, and they think the whole town basically comes out to greet them. And it needs to be said here, Yakul drying himself is absolutely adorable. It's this red elk coming out of the water and just like shaking himself off like a dog, and the way it's animated is just like, holy shit, that's charming as all hell. Then we get to meet Koroku's wife, and she's not like swearing up a storm, like she doesn't have like sailor mouth or anything, but like she is not your typical Japanese woman. Like, she immediately comes down and starts taking the piss out of everyone.
Yeah.
Like, she shits all over her husband. She shits on Gonza / Tatsu. She's like, she is empowered and then some.
Yeah.
She flirts with Ash.
I'm like,
too.
this doesn't seem realistic, because I don't think women were empowered. I mean, women weren't, quote unquote, women didn't have the right to vote in this country until like what, the teens, 20s. It was 60 years after slavery was abolished. I think it was the 1920s as women had the right to vote, and that was America. And from what I understand of Japanese culture is that women have had lesser rights for a long time, especially during this time. So I saw this.
Oh, yeah.
So when I saw this, I'm like, huh, okay, she's mouthy. Kind of operation they running around here. This doesn't seem like canon. Like, this isn't Japanese canon. This wasn't happening.
Yeah, it's very unusual, but it's another theme across many of Miyazaki's movies. Most of his films are headed up by female protagonists. I wouldn't say that they're like typically like spunky or like precocious or this kind of character, but female representation in his movies is definitely a thing. Like he it's very common for him to have very prominent figures be female characters in his stories.
If you haven't had
this character is like really small, but it's impactful.
It's like a little Jada Pinkett Smith. That's what I was thinking.
I think she was literally voiced by Jada Pinkett Smith.
I could totally see it. Seems like a handful.
No, I'm serious. I'm almost 100% certain it was actually her voice in the dub.
I believe you. Like I could totally. That's perfect casting. That's exactly who. That's who I was thinking of when I saw this. I'm like, that's Jada Pinkett Smith right there. Real life, not even her acting. I'm like, that's just her. That's some shit she would say to Will Smith.
No, like I said, the casting choices and the performances in the dub are actually quite good. And yeah, I agree with you that was a good choice.
If you want your jaw to drop, you should start watching Mad Men, because there's some stuff in there where you're like, what? Jeez. Wow. Can you say that even in a show? My God. But yeah, don't we? So she's chewing out, making fun. She's humiliating her husband just a little bit,
Well, yeah, and she's flirting with the guy who just saved her husband.
Yeah. These ladies are, these women are in power. They're like, yeah, I'm married, but I'm gonna flirt with this new kid. But yeah, do we meet Lady Ibo? How do you say? Eboshi.
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 Yeah.
I'm Lady
Yeah,
Eboshi.
She shows up. I mean, as Mini Driver, you can voice her any way you want.
Yeah, I'm going to.
Yeah, she shows up, and immediately is like gracious to everyone present. Like you can tell she is the authority figure here. Like she directs traffic the moment she shows up, but she's very polite and very gracious to Ash, and like thankful for him bringing back her ox driver and that other guy who I don't even think gets a name, but he's unconscious most of the time we see him. She arranges to meet with Ash later in the evening or something. We get a brief montage here of the town kind of like closing up shop, so they retract the drawbridge, and we see that like rice flows freely here. Like everyone's prosperous. Attitude is generally very upbeat. They're doing well. Irontown is kicking ass.
Seems like they're a well-oiled machine. Everybody's got their roles and their positions, and there doesn't seem to be really any complaining. Yeah, it's just a well-oiled machine that they've got going.
Yeah, it's a small village, but like you said, everybody has their place, and everybody seems to be at peace with that. So they're doing very well. And then we cut to the dining hall, and Ash is hanging out with all the dudes. So they may have like separate dining arrangements or something, because it seems to be all dudes in there. But all the ladies are crowding around the entryway, and they're all checking out Ash.
Yeah.
It's pretty cute. It's funny.
Ash, why don't you pop that shirt off, young boy? Ooh, he's sexy.
I mean, no joke. That's basically what they're doing.
They are catcalling a dude. Yeah, they don't give a fuck.
In feudal Japan.
In front of their husbands, mind you. Like, although all their
Yes.
partners and husbands are just right there eating with him, and they're like, "You hot as fuck." Like, yeah.
But yeah, it's funny some of the dialogue that gets tossed back and forth between the men and the women. Like, so the men are like, "Hey, we risked our lives for this rice," which we saw earlier when the caravan was attacked by the wolves. So that would be what the men were doing. But then the women retort with, "Hey, we work the bellows, we work the foundry all day. Like we're what make the town run." So like you had said, everybody, man and woman, has a place here. And the men are kind of bitchy here. It's pretty funny. Because they're like, they like Lady Eboshi spoils them. That's why they're all fucking mouthy. But an important detail here, though, is that the men mention that, and it's confirmed later on, it's not just the men bitching. It's confirmed later that Eboshi brought in ladies from brothels to work at Irontown. So she basically said, "Hey, instead of turning tricks all day, maybe come work the bellows." I
don't know how I feel about this. She's like, "Yeah, They were in the brothels. They shouldn't have been in there. I got them over here doing around the clock 4 hour day manual labor. They're like, oh, it's so much better than being in the brothels. I'm like, really? I mean, say what you will about the profession itself. I'm like, it seems less labor intensive. I don't know. It just seemed like they're like, oh, this is a better deal here. I'm like, okay, I suppose so, but it seems like you got to work quite a bit.
Well, yeah, I mean, your knees will give out after what, a decade or 8 years or whatever.
I'm like, gee, I mean, because well, what they're doing, I've never seen anything like this before. Like, the best I can think of it is like, remember in year one where he has to do the mud pits and the guy's sitting there next to him. He's like, God, I love being outside. He's just out there doing the mud pit, and it's just like it's tiring work. And they do it in the Ten Commandments as well. Like Moses goes out there and starts working in the mud pits, and then like after a day, he's just like fucking dead, and then like whipping him like, keep going, dude. Like you're not done. We don't have that power dynamic here, but it does seem like it is very exhausting work.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure in real life like if this would actually be preferable. It seems like it would kick your ass in short
Yeah.
order. So
But I
yeah,
mean, but maybe as opposed,
it's debatable, but
I guess. Well, the thing is like they just have to keep doing this, and they're guaranteed to eat. Like other people have other jobs. Like we just gotta do this, and we'll eat, and you don't have to deal with people that. I mean, the guys that go into brothels at this time in world history, which were probably not great people.
well, yeah, not. I mean, it's not just those kind of people. It's also a period in the country's history where they were at constant war, and
Yeah.
you had people from all parts of the country that are just there to kill people and are tired and have a lot of shit they need to get out of their system, and they may take it out on you.
You don't want no part of that.
Yeah, exactly. It's also mentioned here that Lady Eboshi has no fear of the gods.
No.
So those
She-
spirit creatures that.
Oh, I was gonna say she doesn't like them. It's not that she's not afraid of them. She's not afraid of them, but she also actively dislikes them and is trying to kill them, from what I understand.
And at this point, we get told a little bit of story, and we actually get to see some like after the fact footage of how it went down. But some of the guys are telling Ash that Nago, the boar god, who he had killed, Eboshi had shot him with a bullet with one of those cannons / rifles. And the reason why the boar needed to be shot was that there's iron like in the mountain near the town or under the town that they've been trying to mine. However, the territory was kind of claimed by Nago and the other boars, which brought them into conflict with each other. And initially, we see that the boars just like fuck up these villagers, but then Lady Eboshi shows up with her guns and just kicks the shit out of them. So Nago apparently fled from that battle and came to Ash's territory. And then yeah, we get to see that the boars were thoroughly defeated. There's a good bit of visual storytelling here where we get a shot of Ash's face like superimposed over the reenactment, and his facial expression kind of tells us that yeah, he doesn't really approve of what she did, killing all the boars, that is. And then Iboshi gets her audience with Ash, and she's doing like accounting or something. She's doing something very modern for the time, something very, very, very human, which is kind of essential to her character. She's a modernist. Like, I mean, fuck, she's an armed
She's a
woman
capitalist.
in power that's employing women workers and stuff. She's not a person of her time. So she's pretty much as far like ideologically from Ash as possible, which is good
Yeah, no, she's making.
from a storytelling standpoint.
She's capitalist, but she's exploiting people who are in less than stellar situations in life, and she's profiting from them because she's got ladies, undesirables, ladies who worked in brothels. She's got lepers making guns. She's like, oh yeah, nobody would take us in, but she took us in. Oh, she also makes us work all fucking day, and then she treats us to alcohol. I'm like, That's what they did to little kids in little kids in workhouses in Britain. Like, yeah, go work for fucking 14 hours with your little fingers, and then they'd give them liquor to go to sleep. I'm like, I'm not.
Yeah.
She's not that great of a person. She's fine. I get what she's doing.
No, I think she's the most interesting character in the story. Um, Sadly, the character aspect of the story is not its strong point. The atmosphere and the themes, I think, are the strong points, and some of the animal characters. I like the way they're written, but in terms of like memorable characterizations, I think she's really maybe the only one. Even the titular Princess Mononoke is, I didn't get much out of her, to be honest.
She's
In
ill-defined.
fact, I'm still kind of confused as to why it's called, like, why it's named after her, because she's not even the main character, if you ask me. I think Ash is. But yeah, Lady Eboshi is an interesting character because you're right. She's probably 80 to 90% a bad person.
Yeah.
But like what she's doing is kind of amazing. Like her ambition is admirable.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, she and Ash have a conversation, and he cuts immediately to the chase, presumably because he knows that she's responsible for sending the boar to his town, basically. Well, not sending, but like kicking his ass and causing him to run over there. And he pulls out his arm, and he pulls out the iron ball, and he's like, "Hey, this is what came of your dirty work." And she straight up laughs at him. It's pretty fucking great, because he actually has this line that I think is maybe the cheesiest line in the whole movie, probably in Japanese and English. She's like, "What do you want? Like, I know you have this curse, but what do you actually want?" And he says, "To see with eyes unclouded by hate."
Yeah, nerd.
It's like, what?
What did you just say?
What? Did you just fucking say that?
That sounds like something Nick Cage would say. Like something he would ad-lib.
Yeah, to see with eyes unclouded by hate.
Unclouded by hate. It sounds like something from the National... That's something he would say in National Treasure.
Hey, Tim. I think the key to Superman is to see with eyes unclouded by hate.
Yeah, Nick. I think that's
Nick,
something.
I don't know,
I think
Nick.
that's,
That's just great. That's Nick. That's just great, man. Like, fucking Tim didn't have it in him to reel him back. But yeah, she responds to this by letting out just this kind of laugh. It's pretty great.
Is that a Mini Driver laugh?
Both voice actresses do that, and it's pretty great. The animation on her face, I like that they gave her they made her up, because like characters with makeup don't really exist in Miyazaki movies.
Mm-hmm.
He draws people the way I do, meaning they have no lips. So it's actually, it separates her from the rest of the character models. It's like, oh, she has very prominent red lips, and when she laughs, her whole face opens up. It's pretty great. But she pulls him into her her hidey hole, her bat cave, basically. And like you had said, she has some lepers working in like a back room through the garden, building actual rifles. Not just like this bullshit musket shit that we used earlier in the movie, but like actual fucking rifles. I mean, they're still operated via a fuse, like a not even a matchlock rifle. The rendering of it is based on something called a tanegashima. It's like an early Japanese rifle that has this shape to it, where you hold it almost like you would hold a modern bazooka. It looks fucking awesome. But yeah, she her ambitions at this point know no bounds, and she's like, her chief concern at this point is further empowering the women by making the rifles lighter, so that an average woman can handle them. Because by the way, she's about a head taller than most of the other women in this film.
Yeah, she's tall.
She's big lady.
Japanese Gina Davis. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. And while we're in this back room here, she shows us that yeah, she has a workshop full of lepers, so undesirables, as you had said, working for her, and she's boozing them up. They all seem pretty happy about it, very happy about it, in fact. And Ash's arm spazzes the fuck out and like draws his sword. Like his arm wants this bitch dead. But he resists, and she doesn't even bat an eye at it. Like you can tell she's ready to throw if it comes to that. But before any moves can be made, this old leper that's laying under a straw mat like looks like they're terminal or something. Like they're not doing well. They kind of verbalize a desire for them to stop going at it, and they say, "Life is suffering. We're all cursed, and yet somehow we find reasons to keep living." Which I guess is supposed to be a major theme in the story, though it's a little bit hazy as we go forward. And then Eboshi continues to talk to Ash. she very casually shoots at some apes, by the way, on a mountainside. They're planting some trees. And she wants Ash to join her so she can kill the spirit of the forest and liberate it, is the way she phrases it. This is the first mention in the script of the character of Princess Mononoke, and somehow apparently there's some sort of prophecy involving this character that like if I kill her, well, she's supposed to try to kill me, and if I kill her somehow that'll get me ownership of the forest or something. The wolves stole her soul, and now for some reason she got beef with me. And then Ash heads to the bellows. He heads to the ironworks, and we get a cute scene here. He's working with the ladies.
Yeah, and he's super duper strong. I don't know if this is just from him being strong or if it's from the thing on his arm, but he's like, he jumps on the line and is pushing this thing down with his feet, and they're like, "Oh, he's so crazy. He can fucking push it really hard." And they're like, "You're not going to keep up like that all night, bitch. Like this is hard work." And I don't know if he does. But meanwhile, there is a sneak attack coming in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The titular Princess Mononoke is riding on Wolfback and storms the town. Wolfback.
That's funny. Wolfback. She's riding on Wolfback. This is not what you hear.
Very casually.
Yeah, pretty casual.
And it like wombo combos her over the wall, and she infiltrates the town. Maybe not all that stealthily, because everyone sees her coming, and I think maybe that's the point. But she's wearing this clay mask of some sort, complete with ears. She got a little dagger, and she's running around causing all sorts of chaos. A bunch of people in the town are shooting at her. Ash sees her and is trying to intercept her. For some reason, he has an attachment to her that, realistically speaking, I don't know how you could form this kind of attachment when the only contact you've had with this person is, well, you said hi to her, she shot you a look, and then left. Well, I don't think she's into you, bud.
I think his loyalties probably lie more with her, because he doesn't seem to agree with what's happening in this village. Neither do I. As a viewer, I'm like, I don't appreciate anything that's going on here, and I think he's wise to it. And he also is blaming her for what's happened. So he's like, well, maybe Princess Mononoke is not so bad. Maybe we should try to, you know what? We should sit down and try to hash this all out. Try to figure out a better plan. Like maybe we can just all get along and stuff. I think that's where he's coming from, because he's a fucking loser.
He wants to see with eyes unclouded by hate, Kyle.
Yeah, so go ahead.
I was just going to say, so the priority, and we get to see like the town like spring into action. So like this is another case of everyone in the town having a role. Like everyone grabs a weapon, everybody's set up to defend the town. But keeping the bellows going, like keeping the ironworks, the fires lit and stoked, is of prime concern. And then, by the way, Princess Mononoke's her actual name is San, which is largely what Ash calls her. I don't think Princess Mononoke is said more than 3 times in the movie. But yeah, Eboshi calls out San and is like, "Hey, bitch, you want to fight? Let's go." But it needs to be said that she has two women with her. they're widows of people who were their husbands were apparently killed by the wolves or something. So she has like true reasons to hate San. Like she got beef with her, whereas Princess Mononoke's argument seems to me be more just like animalistic or like intrinsic on some level, where it's like I don't actually have a distinct reason to hate you. It's what I have to do. So San comes charging down, and then we get a very very put a pin in it kind of moment here where San gets knocked down from a rooftop, and Eboshi says the line, "Cut off a wolf's head, and he still has the power to bite." Like I said, put the largest of fucking pins in that. San gets shot in the face, but the mask she's wearing deflects the bullet. And then she gets up from the ground and makes a beeline straight for Eboshi, and we get a little bit of a clash here. And it's very, very brief, but it was very entertaining for me to see. Like, it's very well animated. So basically, Eboshi and San clash swords. And did you happen to notice the way they animated Eboshi?
Mm-mm.
Well, I mean, the first move is that they like San comes at her with a dagger. Eboshi like deflects it with a katana, and then she has like, it's like a kunai, like a small dagger, but I think it comes out of like her hair, so it's like on the sly. Like it's very, very Commodus from a Gladiator kind of move. It's very slippery, but just the couple of seconds we see of her and San like circling each other, her body language is like intensely male. Like she's super butch. Like it's really well rendered. Like it looks cool because she has a swagger to the way she moves, and like it's not graceful, but it looks like this is a lady that can handle herself. And it's in stark contrast to San, who's like crouched down and has like a animalistic demeanor about her. It's just a small touch that it always stood out to me because it looks like straight out of like a traditional like samurai movie or something, but with two ladies, which is something you don't really see every day. But here's the big moment where Ash hulks out, and he gets like the swirling demon aura around him, and he intervenes. So he stops the fighting, and he basically throws out there that there's demons in all of us, not just me. And this demon aura that I have around me, this is what hatred looks like. It's gonna kill me soon. It's all kind of like kindergarten bullshit. The point is, despite his physical intervention, both of the women still want to keep fighting. I think San like actually bites him on the arm, and Eboshi actually takes a swing at him with her little hairpin dagger or whatever, and he he just kind of knocks both of them unconscious.
Yeah.
He's like, you fucking, he's like, God damn it. He's like, enough talk. I'm just gonna punch you.
Yeah.
And then he takes off like a boss, like he just walks out of the town and moves like a multi-ton gate by himself. So his demon powers be strong.
Yeah, he gets shot in the he gets shot in the torso somewhere, probably the liver. I can't remember which side. Not a good place to be shot. And he just still walks out with her, and they get to his little elk guy, and they end up meeting up with the wolves.
Yeah, and they all take off together. The wolves are kind of like escorting him and his mount, and he has San like riding on Yakul with him. And there's one shot in here, Kyle, that I don't know if you noticed it, but every time I've seen this movie, I always laugh at this shot. I don't think I'm intended to, but we're riding along this hillside at night, and he succumbs to his injuries because he got shot through the torso, and he just kind of falls off the back of Yakul, and immediately one of the wolves just goes, "Ah!" and screech and does a 180 and runs up to him and bites him on top of the head and just shakes his head like a fucking doll.
Yeah, he looks like he's about to eat him, but doesn't the princess stop him? Or
yes, she stops him, but for like a second or two he's just like,
yeah.
It's like, oh my god.
It's not cool, bro.
Just the way it's animated always makes me laugh. I don't think I'm supposed to laugh at that. But yeah, she actually like threatens stab him, like kill him right then and there. Kind of weird that she just stopped him from being eaten and now wants to stab him. And then he like calls her pretty, and that makes her go.
Yeah. Oh, he's
Yeah.
so nice.
Yeah. So this is that very childish style of storytelling where it's like this character chemistry, this equation isn't adding up, but it's like it's a necessity. It's like we need these characters to get to these points, even though we didn't bother to write it properly. Yeah.
Yeah, we meet the apes too. The apes are pretty creepy. I liked.
Oh.
Go
Yeah.
for it.
Well, I was just gonna say, yeah, the apes when I was a kid. Well, I wasn't a kid. This came out in 1999. Yeah, they're creepy, unsettling.
Yeah, it's because they move like because apes move. They're very human like, but they still move in their own way, and they do a really good job of animating them. And they're just silhouettes. Like we don't really see any detail of them, which makes them creepier. And they have red eyes, and they're like they want to eat Ash. Which is like kind of a power move. I know chimpanzees do that. I don't know. These guys actually look more like orangutans, the way they were animated. But she calls them apes. Wait, is it like apes are orangutan? Not all apes are orangutans, but all.
Not all monkeys are apes.
Yeah, is it like something like that?
Yeah. No, I forget how it worked. Not all, and then there's prosimians on top of that. I forget which classification each one is, but yeah, the script calls them apes. I mean they have monkeys and stuff in Japan. They have apes, but I don't think they have chimps, which I always think of as like the meat-eating ape.
Yeah, they are. They're the ones they'll eat another chimp. I don't know. They don't know if it's for protein or it's just a power move. But it seems like from this, it sounds like a power move. It's like we need to eat them. We need to eat this human because we keep trying to replant trees and they keep stopping us and they keep not letting us plant trees. I'm like, I get it. I understand. I feel like there is a very, very clear environmental message in this movie that I just don't get. Like it just seems like it's very, we got to stop cutting down trees. It's causing problems within the animal kingdom and between humans. I feel like it's just kind of cut and dry.
Well, I feel like it's a. I mean, I'm 100% American. I mean, my understanding of Japanese culture comes through a few filters, but I mean, I do my research. I learn what I can. I have relatives and stuff, but it's my understanding that the relationship between man and nature in Japanese culture largely comes from like the country being kind of like environmentally volatile, like typhoon, tsunami, earthquake. They get a lot of that shit and have gotten that shit a lot throughout history, and so it's humbling. And also, Christianity didn't show up until way later, so like the animistic beliefs and like Buddhist and Shinto kind of stuff that's all about being in harmony with the world, as opposed to like your eternal reward and stuff like that. They don't have as much of a history with that, and so a lot of things like man relating to nature, it's humbling. It's about understanding that you're but a speck in the grand scheme of things, and so like replanting the trees isn't so much the idea. It's more just like stop taking more than you're giving. I guess.
I get what you mean.
And I do. Everything in this story is a little bit hazy. There's a lot of storytelling that's happening off screen. That's a little unfortunate. I would have appreciated more description, but then again, the movie's over 2 hours long, which is very long for an animated feature. But there is mention in the script, both here and later on with Okoto, where the blind boar, where there's mention of the animals growing stupid, and I think my theory is that it's because the people don't believe in them anymore, and they're being outmoded. So there's a reason they all die by the end of this movie. It's because man is replacing them with practicality and pragmatism and stuff like that, like purely human concerns. And so what the apes are doing is, I think it's a power play in the sense that they're trying to send a message by like eating a fucking man in front of other humans, but at the same time it's also because they're losing themselves. They're no longer gods. They're just like animals. And San actually is critical of them. She's like, do you really think you're going to become more powerful by eating him? And they acknowledge that, like, probably not, but it seems like a good idea right now.
It's the way things are going, we're desperate.
It's like we're kind of losing this war. I'm open to suggestion. So this was an interesting moment where it's like you can tell that the animals are not united, and they're all on their heels. And then we have people that we've just seen that they're building newer, better guns, and they already kicked our asses with their older, shittier guns.
Yeah.
So it's desperate times for the animal kingdom.
You're implying
and also that
you're implying you're implying that Buddhism precedes Christianity. Okay.
Okay, buddy.
By the way, it totally does.
But yeah, so the apes are desperate, and also they mentioned that the forest spirit will not fight. So I guess the strongest god they have in the natural world is not going to help them. So the apes believe that we're kind of fucked.
Princess or San, she takes Ash back to the forest, and she puts him in some water. Guess we're gonna try to heal his wounds, and she's kind of having some talk with the wolves a little bit. And I think even the wolves are kind of like, we should probably eat him, like he looks pretty delicious.
They're actually pretty disappointed about it.
Kind of to the point where, like, once you turn your head, I'm probably gonna eat this kid. But they're all about it. But we keep talking about the spirit of the forest, and now that little piece of shit with the red nose, what's his face?
Jigo.
He's kind of around here somewhere, and we're being informed about the spirit of the forest, who's doing like a tree beard thing, where he's like this. It almost seems alien. That's the best way that I can describe it. It kind of felt abyss-ish, like if the abyss. When it's in the water, it takes like a large form. It kind of reminded me of something like that. But the spirit of the forest is something that Minnie Driver, I can't think of Eboshi? Eboshi. She's like, yeah, I need to destroy the spirit of the forest to release it for whatever reason. And I'm not really entirely sure what the spirit of the forest represents here. Maybe you have a little more insight into this.
Well, I think it's fitting that you use the word alien, because I can't help but think of that in relation to like a benevolent god of some sort, because it's beyond us. So it has a pretty grand entrance into the film. San brings him to that mossy patch of forest that we were in earlier with the kodama and stuff, because it's her understanding that his wounds are so dire to the point that only the spirit of the forest can save him. And the spirit of the forest actually makes its entrance into the film in a different form, something that I don't actually remember the Japanese word for it, but in the English script it's referred to as the Night Walker.
Yeah.
And it's this gigantic, like its shins are, the canopy, like the tops of the trees are basically at like its shins or its knees.
Yeah.
So this thing is massive, and it's like translucent or semi-transparent. The inside of it looks like an amoeba kind of, and its head has what looks like gooey antlers coming out of it, but it's not solid. It's gooey. It's like a giant blob creature.
It's icky.
It's icky. But as night transitions to day, it like dives into the forest, and it takes on a different form. And the first shot we get of it is actually of its feet stepping into the frame from a downward angle, and we see that it has almost like bird-like feet, and the body of a deer, and the face of a strange-looking red-faced man. But every step it takes instantly causes the ground to like spring into intense growth, like instantaneously. Like the vegetation just springs up and then instantly dies. So this thing it's duality. It's both a great force of life and death. From an aesthetic standpoint, you can, I guess, infer that the Night Walker represents death, whereas the spirit of the forest is more like growth and life.
Well, I
But
think
of
it just
course,
represents. I think it
it's a
represents.
cycle.
I was gonna say it's the actual spirit of the forest. It's the cycle, and it's just as it walks, it's going through it like that. It's just like death, life, death, life, death, life. Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, I think that's primarily its representation is that it's largely impartial. Like I don't have any explanation as to why it would save him and no one else, nor do I understand why it would save him but not remove his curse, only to do it later.
Yeah, right.
Like I guess maybe just like plot convenience.
Maybe it's
but
like
at the end of the day,
maybe it's like Constantine, where the devil, like, at the end, like he's like the devil takes his lung cancer out basically. So he's like, oh no, you're gonna get a chance to prove yourself. You're not going straight to heaven, and I'm not taking you to hell. I'm gonna give you a chance to actually earn this. So maybe it's something along those lines.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, though, we're not meant to understand 100% what it is or what its intentions are, because I don't know that it really has intentions. It never speaks, unlike all the other gods in this movie. So it's just this strange thing, this strange presence with incredible power. But yeah, Jigo is watching, and the way he's introduced is actually kind of cute, where it's, I think one of his buddies, we see that the top of a bear's head, like laying down on a log, and then it springs up and it's just a dude wearing a bear suit, like Nick Cage in The Wicker Man.
I was gonna say like Ben Stiller in Tropic Thunder, where he kills the panda.
Oh shit! Yeah, I forgot about that. That's that movie, man.
It's great.
I need to go back and rewatch it. Yeah.
Somebody on Reddit or Twitter, something along those lines, they have a shot of Robert Downey Jr. and Don Cheadle's character, I believe from Iron Man 2, and they're both wearing the Iron Man suits, or maybe it's Iron Man 3, I'm not sure. Because wasn't it Hustle and Flow? What's that guy's name?
Terrence Howard?
Yeah, wasn't Terrence Howard that character, or is that did they replace the actor, or is that a different character? Because I feel like he was in that.
No, they replaced the actor.
Okay, that's what it was. I didn't want to be racist.
Supposedly it was. Supposedly he was asking for too much money.
I can see that. Well, jeez, if he just would have been patient. Terrence Howard, it was about to make all the money. But somebody posted a picture of Robert Downey Jr. in the Iron Man suit, and then they superimposed Robert Downey Jr.'s character from Tropic Thunder onto the other Iron Man. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen, because it's Robert Downey Jr., of course, in makeup from that movie. I don't know how it took us someone did this long to put it together, to piece that together, but it's you can find it. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, you would think that would be a day one kind of thing when the Iron Man movies started to come out.
Easily. Oh yeah, so the spirit of the forest is coming in. Sorry, we had when I graduated, graduated from a Jesuit school, so they had a prayer because it's Catholic, and this girl got up there, and she did this prayer, and I could not stop laughing because she had like this voice. She talked like this. And she kept saying, spirit of this, spirit of that, dear spirit of this. So,
no.
Dear spirit of spirit, thank you so much for having spirit with us when we were in school this year. Anytime I hear the word spirit, that pops in my head. Dear spirit of the forest, thank you for saving my friend Ash. Sorry.
Yeah,
Side note.
that's one of those words that I largely omit from my vocabulary, because it does make me feel weird to say the word spirit.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I haven't earned that or something.
You need to be in the Catholic. You need to be in the Catholic Church to say spirit, because you have to say it in the Catholic Church.
Gotcha. Never done that, but
no, you're fine.
So yeah, the spirit brings back Ash. He has a bit of a dream, but he awakes and he's healed. It needs to be said here that Jigo and his buddies note that there is a literal army of boars just like marching up the mountains. They're not from around here.
Oh, I'm saying they're not running yet. You're right. They are just marching. I apologize.
Oh yeah, they are marching up the mountain, and Jigo notes that they're not from around here. These are foreign boars.
Yeah.
And Okoto, this like maybe albino, but he's white.
He's
basically.
old as fuck. He's huge.
He's a gigantic, ancient boar. He looks awesome. It's creepy, but awesome. But he is quite larger than Nago was. He is the biggest fucking boar you will ever see. Okoto is probably like one of the oldest of the old gods, and he is leading these boars. And he's running some sort of campaign here. So put a pin in that. That's going to be important later. But yeah, Ash wakes up, and he's still really weak, though. And we get a charming scene where he's too weak to eat. So Son has some like jerky, and she chews it and spits it into his mouth.
Yeah, she like spits it back up in his mouth. Yeah, it's pretty gross.
Yeah, it's like feeding a bird.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's gross. It reminds me. Oh, Kyle, have you seen the movie Mafia with an exclamation point?
No.
It's the Jay Moore like.
Oh no.
It's like wrongfully accused or Spy Hard.
Gotcha.
But with
Parody
with mob movies.
Okay.
It's not bad. I mean, it's right up there with wrongfully accused. I think Spy Hard's my favorite. But there's a scene where Jay Moore's character gets blown up in a car bomb like Robert De Niro in Casino.
Mm-hmm.
Only difference is he gets immolated and like all the skin gets burned off of him, and he shows up at like a funeral, I think. And they do this close-up shot of like a nurse chewing a tangerine and putting it into his mouth. And like all the people at the funeral start puking because it's like this hideously burned man chewing a pre-chewed tangerine. It's disgusting.
I don't know if parody movies are funny. I think it was just Leslie Nielsen was funny. Like, we got to do all these different parody movies. I'm like, I think it's just Leslie Nielsen. He's just funny, and he made those movies funny.
Yeah, I need to watch the TV series that preceded the Naked Gun movies. Was it something Police Files? I can't remember.
I'm not sure.
They had this running gag that is so fucking brilliant, where the closing shot of every episode would be it's a freeze frame moment, but they just have the actors stop moving. And then the credits roll, so you can see them like kind of shaking a little bit.
Is it Leslie?
So brilliant.
Is it Leslie Nielsen?
It is. It is Leslie Nielsen.
Okay.
No, it was. I think like a very short TV series, but I've heard it's pretty good.
See, it was the subtle things. Do you remember? I don't remember which one it is. I think it's one of the Naked Gun movies where there's three of them, Leslie Nielsen and two other guys, and the two guys walk through the door. And Leslie Nielsen, because it's a set, walks in front of the door, like walks right in front of it. It's just a little subtle thing.
Those are the things in those movies that I just adore.
Yeah.
Like I love those small details. They're so great. And like what they had the thing with the phone gag where it's like a giant phone or something, or like it was something to do with like foreshortening, where just the camera angle had you believe that it's like, oh, like the phone's just like close to the camera. It's like, no, it's a giant fucking
camera.
Phone.
Yeah. A giant phone.
And,
yeah.
I've never seen a loaded weapon either. And then what's the one with Val Kilmer?
Oh my God, there's one with Val Kilmer.
It's a parody of spy movies.
Oh, I've seen
Top Secret.
I was gonna say Spy Hard. I've seen Spy Hard. That one's great.
No, it's called Top Secret, and I haven't seen it, but I've heard it's very good.
It's got Val Kilmer and Leslie
Loaded
Nielsen.
Weapon with Emilio Estevez. I haven't seen that either.
Anyway,
yeah,
sorry.
Put that on your list.
Yeah, I'll put him on there.
Baby Val Kilmer in a parody movie. Apparently, he does some singing in it too.
Oh, there's some singing coming up in this movie.
But yeah, Moro, the wolf god, arrives on the scene, and then Okoto and the boars show up too, and they, well, no, Okoto isn't with them, I think, but the boars show up, and just like the apes, they want to kill Ash while he's defenseless, and the wolves actually kind of like back him up and are like, hey, we don't have to go there, but the boars are just like furious. They want this man dead. And this is the point where we learn that Ash is alive, but his arm is still cursed. And then Okoto arrives, and it needs to be said, Keith David did his voice in the American dub of this film, and he fucking knocked it out of the park. I do actually maintain that his interpretation of this character is superior to the Japanese version. He does some things with his inflections and his voice that are just perfect. But yeah, Okoto, this giant blind boar, sniffs him and kind of like passes judgment immediately. He's just like, yeah, you're okay, but if you come back, I'm gonna kill you. It's very interesting because like he seems like a Bane like character where he says what he means and he backs it up. So he's like, if I see you again, you will die. But today, for whatever reason, I'm gonna keep you alive. And perhaps it's because the spirit of the forest saw fit to bring him back. Maybe that holds some meaning or something. It's like, well, you know, if you know the big boss says you're okay, maybe you're okay. But it needs to be said here that Moro, the wolf god, believes wholeheartedly that the boars do not stand a chance against the humans in a stand-up fight. This is where that line of we've grown both small and stupid comes from Okoto in reference to his boar clan, that like my people are dying even if they're not being killed. Like we're not as great as we once were. And basically Okoto is committed to gambling on one last fight. Like everything that passes back and forth in this conversation between the wolves and the boars here indicates that the boars probably do not have a chance in winning this fight, but Okoto doesn't care. He's stubborn. And then we cut back to Irontown, and there's a whole bunch of politicking that happens here. Do you remember much of that, Kyle?
Yeah, there's some fighting going on, and they're shooting the shit out of these nerds, and they kind of give up at one point, and they go to I forgot what the clan is. Whoever they're fighting comes up to the front door and is like, "Hey, listen, we want to talk to your boss." And she's like, "No, we're not letting you in. You can talk to us here." And it's like, "All right, well, you've been fighting good today, but we want you to surrender, basically." And one of the ladies just shoots at him. He's literally a messenger. She shoots at the messenger. I thought somebody was gonna say that, but nobody does.
It's kind of a Monty Python-esque.
Yeah.
Was it the rude Frenchman or whatever?
I'll fart in your general direction.
Exactly.
But she shoots at him. I don't know what else is really happening here.
The main thing that happens is Jigo shows up at Irontown and just kind of casually walks up to Lady Eboshi, who is transporting rice into the town, and says, "Hey, I have this plan. I actually have a..." He's so proud of himself. He has an imperial pardon signed by the emperor himself saying, "It's okay if you take the spirit of the forest's head." So he has it in writing. He's got it in paper, man. And he's so proud of this. And there's a cute moment here where he's basically trying to buddy up to Eboshi because he knows that she has the weapons and the manpower to do this, like to actually enact this plan. Because for whatever reason they want to take the spirit of the forest's head. There's a line mentioned offhand by Eboshi that the head will grant will grant you immortality. So it's kind of Indiana Jones-esque, I guess. It's never confirmed that this is true.
Yeah, I was gonna say
it's just rumor, I guess.
It's just fabrication. I don't think this is real.
Yeah, but there's a really cute moment here where he actually shows her the letter signed by the emperor, and she's like, "Oh, that's nice." And then she unfolds it and shows it to one of the ladies that work the iron, and she's like, "Oh, like take a look at this." And she's like, "Emperor, who's that?" And you can see Jigo's face. He's just like, "God damn it!" Like, nobody cares. See, nobody cares.
See, nobody cares.
Nice hat.
Nice hat.
Don't get cheap on me, Jigo.
My buddy sent me a picture of him at we had a luau a couple years ago at our house in Seattle, and he was wearing a Hawaiian shirt and a straw hat, and took a picture with all the food. And like, what are you trying to look like, a secret agent? Nobody got it. You guys disappoint me. It was early Seattle time, so that's fine.
You need me like 100 feet away behind a dozen people, like pointing one finger to the sky and being like, "I understood that reference."
Like the alphabet backwards, I think I could probably quote Jurassic Park backwards. That's how many times I've seen it and how much I love it. Spielberg and
Yeah, me too.
but yeah, so the boars and wolves talk. There's people fighting. That little piece of shit comes back. We get a song here after.
Yeah.
Oh God. I was sitting.
It's yeah, the I don't again, I'm not a musical expert, but the pitch or the tone is a little grating. It's a little yeah, it's a little too operatic, I guess. I would have appreciated something a little more sweet. But yeah, it's a vocal theme. It's again along the lines of like cutting down trees is bad. It's very Ferngully-esque, but
Yeah.
it's basically the Princess Mononoke theme, like both for the character and the movie. We go to Pride Rock. um, so the wolves' lair up in the mountains undeniably looks a little bit like Pride Rock. But Ash wakes up and he steps out onto this like this rock escarpment of sorts, and he and Moro, the wolf god, have a bit of a conversation here, and a lot of information trades hand here. But to sum up, Moro is in pain because they still have a bullet in them, as we saw happen much earlier in the film, and they want to kill Eboshi. And we learned the backstory of how San came to become part of the wolf clan. It's that Moro actually killed her parents because they were trashing the forest, apparently. But for whatever reason, Moro decided to raise San as her own.
They threw San at the wolves. They're just like, take our fucking baby, we're getting out of here.
Yeah, and there's a interesting line here where it may be a subtitle issue, but basically Moro uses the words both ugly and beautiful in the same breath in reference to San, which, you know, from a wolf's perspective, I get it. It's like, ugly human, but my daughter. So it's like,
Kind of like when you have an ugly kid. I get it.
Yeah, you slip up every once in a while. It's like, they're so hideous, but I love them. But yeah, from an ideological standpoint, it's really interesting to hear what Moro has to say, because they're very... I'm trying to find the right word, but it's like harsh, basically. Like everything
blunt.
is in absolutes.
Yeah,
they're
blunt. Just blunt.
Yeah, they're very blunt, and it's off-putting, but I think it's well written. Like, because again, when I think of like how a wolf thinks as opposed to a person, or you know, like a not quite wolf, but something with a wolf as a foundation, like it seems to add up. I kind of like it.
It reminds me. Yeah, it just reminds me of Don Draper. Don Draper is just very blunt, very honest, very well. He speaks very honest. He's not exactly an honest person. He's absolute opposite of an honest person.
Well, let me ask you this: could you think of Don Draper as a predator?
Yes, Don Draper
there you go.
Don Draper is a predator, 100%.
Well, I mean, I think that bluntness comes from both having a gigantic dick and knowing that.
His dick is an Instagram page.
And then looking at the people and personalities around you as just that, like prey, basically. Like it's like I can tear you down anytime I want.
I can't
slap you with my dick.
I can't. I think I might be able to understand why The Walking Dead is such a big deal, because from what I can understand, Breaking Bad is a fantastic show, and they did a fantastic job with character development, and the actors did an awesome job. I can't stress enough how awesome Mad Men is. It is so good. So how good Mad Men is, and then because it's on the same network as The Walking Dead, I might actually watch The Walking Dead just because of Mad Men.
Well, give it a shot. I mean, it's not a waste of time unless you let it be.
Yeah, that's right. All right. So anyway, so we got some singies. Ash is leaving. What does he tell him? Does he tell him like you gotta get the fuck out of here or something?
Yeah, Moro says like there's like the main point to take away is Moro actually is kind of defeatist, kind of nihilistic about things, where it's like it's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
And it might just be from a personal standpoint because they know they're dying. And I think they understand that things are coming to an end. Like their role as gods in this world is coming to an end. and they actually just tell Ash, like, there's nothing you can do, so I want you to leave at sunrise.
Yeah.
And so it comes to morning. Ash and Yakul head out. A wolf actually, like one of the pups, actually like escorts him down the mountain. He tosses the crystal dagger to the wolf and says, "Hey, give this to my girlfriend."
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I half expected him to do that, where it's like Moro is talking about like really heavy shit, and he's like, "So, does Son like me?"
See, the thing is he's even stronger than her, and that kind of pisses me off too. That he doesn't. There's not like a. He's stronger than her. He's stronger than what's her face, Eboshi. Did I get it right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mini Driver. That would have been something else they could have done. Is like, even though he has this superhuman arm thing going on, maybe she's stronger than him or wiser than him, and she's still kind of primal in the way that, I mean, she's a human, but she still has like primal. She has a primal nature to her. You mentioned it when she was fighting, like her fighting style even. He's just like, yeah, can you tell this to her, please? I hope she's my girlfriend. But
Well, I mean, the major theme that I sensed with both of their characters is that they're both daywalkers.
yeah, yeah,
They're both people who have one foot in each world.
yeah,
Where even him as a villager from that particular village, they live in harmony with nature around them. She is a human who lives in the animal world, but her fighting style, yes, it may be primal. She has a dagger.
mm-hmm.
She uses human tools.
Mm-hmm.
She is a human. Even though she says multiple times in the movie, "I hate all humans." It's like, well, you know, you might want to look in the mirror.
This sequence that's coming up, I kind of perked back up because during this part, like after we leave the apes, I'm just kind of like, oh my gosh, all right, what's happening now? I kind of wasn't completely checked out, but I was like, okay. But this sequence, I kind of liked here.
Yeah, the middle of this movie is very weak. I'll grant you that for sure.
When the movie starts off like with a bang, like we're getting right into it.
Yeah. No, I love everything from the opening to Irontown.
Yeah.
And then after Irontown, I just kind of check out until the finale.
So Ash is kind of moving his way out, and I don't know if they see the smoke first or they pick up on the scent, but there's something going on up on a mountaintop. I was like, how the fuck did... I mean, now, I thought this was a completely different group of people, honestly. I was like, no, I thought actually it was his tribe, his group. I'm like, how did his group come full circle back here? But it's Idoshi's group, that village, and they're burning... He's like, it smells awful. What are they burning?
I didn't catch it, actually.
Well, we're going to burn something later, but...
Yeah.
what they're burning, they're trying to get, I guess, a rise, or they're trying to get the boars to come in, and we get this shot of like the boars in battle. I call them battle boars, just hauling ass, and it's kind of a cool not editing, but animation, the way it's animated, because they're like having this conversation. Meanwhile, the boars are like running, they're getting their face paint on. It's kind of cool.
Oh yeah, no, I love that. That's a small detail that adds a lot. Because they're like dipping their snouts into mud and smearing it on each other, like they're getting ready to fight.
Yeah.
But yeah, the humans are burning something and cutting down trees, and we see things from the wolves' perspective watching this, independent of the boars. And Moro explains to San that the reason they're doing that is they're trying to not only kill the animal's sense of smell, but they're doing it to piss them off.
Yeah.
To make them blind to the fact that, yes, this is indeed a trap. And it's pretty obvious that Okoto and the boars, their pride and stubbornness is not going to allow them to call back the charge. So it's just going to be a blitz. That's it. We're just going to run in there, hope for the best, even though it's pretty obvious that they're drawing us out. So from a strategic standpoint, it's very, very smart of the humans to do this. So San takes off and actually joins the boars with Moro's permission. And Moro actually just kind of casually mentions that, like, so Ash really likes you, by the way. And then San takes off and actually receives the crystal dagger from her wolf mount. And holy shit, there's some cool shots in here where Ash is Ash is like walking through a field. It's a low energy scene, but the way we're introduced to the scene is like shot of some rocks and then rain, like little rain droplets, and the shading on the rocks is just really, really beautiful.
It reminded me of Saving Private Ryan when
Yeah.
when they're going into that town.
Was it Bath or Pool? The name of the town.
Well, I can't. It's the one where Vin Diesel gets shot.
Well, the name of the town I remember was like actually made reference to water. Like I think the town was actually named like Bath or like Pool or something like that. Anyway, Ash and Yakul, they hear some explosions in the distance, and the mist lifts though, and he's closer to the town, and he sees that it's under attack. So there's a feudal lord named Asano, who was mentioned when Jigo met with Eboshi, and the big issue here is that Asano is now attacking the town because Eboshi took like most of the men and most of the fighters out of there to go after the spirit of the forest. So that's, their defenses are down a bit. So we have multiple battles being waged at the same time here. The Iron Town is under attack, and the Boars are fighting Iron Town and Jigo's men, which, by the way, I think we failed to mention, he has an entire troop of like monk soldiers with him. And yeah, Ash heads off towards the town. He like jumps over a bunch of soldiers and just hops into the water in the lake, and casually, very casually, by the way, swats some arrows out of the air and heads to the town. And he meets up with Jada Pinkett Smith, and she exposits to him what's going on. And pretty much the only reason he shows up here, from a plot standpoint, is that Koroku, the guy that he saved earlier in the movie, just happens to have his bow and arrow and just like drops it down to him. So now he has that. We get a brief action scene here where Ash is being chased by 4 horsemen. Not of the apocalypse, but just 4 guys on horseback. And Yakul gets shot in the ass. Something bit him. And Ash like blows some people to fucking Kingdom Come with his bow and arrow, by the way. He does that thing where he shoots arrows so powerfully that limbs come off. It's pretty fucking boss.
I have the confirmation. It is Jada Pinkett Smith.
Nice. I'm not wrong.
Isn't that crazy? Like, I just from the way her character was, I didn't even know that was Jada Pinkett Smith that did the English dub. That's nuts.
Yeah, no. Kyle has only seen the Japanese language version of this movie, so he had no idea. So that's pretty good on your part. You should be a casting director.
Damn. They wouldn't like.
Yeah, Ash.
You don't want me to get my hands on the DC universe.
Oh, well, yeah, I do, actually. We'd get some unconventional casting choices and probably, like, millions upon millions of dollars put towards, like, resurrecting dead actors.
It would just be Grand Moff Tarkins everywhere. It would just be...
Yeah, it'd be a bunch of CGI Philip Seymour Hoffmans.
Oh, God. He could be a penguin. He could be Penguin. He could have been Penguin.
Well, that was the rumor for years.
Are you serious?
That, for the Christopher Nolan Batman movies, everybody and their mother was saying he's too perfect a fit. Like, he seems like he should have been in Christopher Nolan movies.
Yeah,
he seems like he would have the skill set.
He's right there. He can dial it in. He won't be a campy a penguin. Don't get me wrong. I love Danny DeVito's Penguin, but he would be
he's the best.
He would be. I'm gonna find her, and I'm gonna hurt her.
I'm gonna hurt her.
Like a wife or something. Yeah. He's great. He was great. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. But yeah. Anyway, where are we at?
Pig Massacre.
Pig Massacre.
Yeah. So Ash heads towards the Smoky Mountain after he dispatches the horsemen.
Smoky Mountain.
And Smoky Mountain. Smoky Mountain Pig Massacre.
They're like, oh, this
sounds like an annual event.
They're like, oh, this stinks so bad. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's a bunch of dead pigs. It probably smells delicious. What are you guys talking about?
I'm sure it does. It
smells great.
So he also comes across some straw blankets covering some dead humans. So this was not an entirely one-sided battle. And what's interesting here is there's a bunch of warrior monks who clearly are like in charge here, but then all the other people at the Smoky Mountain are from Irontown. It's all people that we met earlier in the movie, and one of them is like severely traumatized. He says he's been burying all like his friends all day. So this was a costly battle on both fronts, although the pigs clearly got the worst end of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the monks are calling the shots, and one of them one of the Irontown people remarks that Eboshi is just being used by Jigo. We knew that, obviously. And then we see a reenactment of how the battle actually went down. And I guess they were like the equivalent to like landmines, so like explosives under the ground. And they put the Irontown people at the front line to receive the brunt of the Boar's charge, and then they blew everyone up. So a bunch of Irontown people got blowed up for no real reason. And then they use these, like, the monks use these, like, stone grenades. They're really fucking clever. Basically, it's like a black powder explosive, but inside, like, a cube-shaped block of, like, rock.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm guessing the shrapnel caused by the explosion makes it deadly. But they're just, like, kicking them down the mountain at all the pigs. And pretty much all the pigs buy it here. And then one of the wolf pups... it just kind of like pokes its head out from under one of the dead pigs, and it's like dying, like it's being smushed, it's being smothered by this pig corpse, and Ash like jumps down to try to save it. A bunch of the Irontown people kind of hesitantly, like, you know, they're not too thrilled about it, but they see him and, you know, they decide to like, oh, we should probably help him out. And there's this big revolt. The villagers fight back against the monks, and then they save the wolf. And then we cut to the forest, and there are two parties heading to the same location. So Jigo, Eboshi, and like Jigo's like group of hunters, they're all headed towards the Spirit of the Forest territory in that mossy area. And then Okoto, San, and one of the wolf pups are headed towards that place as well. And Okoto is thoroughly fucked up. Like, he is bleeding all over the fucking place.
He has seen better days.
Oh, yeah, he is messed up. And the apes show up again, and they're throwing shit. They're throwing shit at San again. Like, that's apparently what the apes do. They throw shit at people. Not actual feces as they do in real life, but like sticks and stuff. But yeah, they're not happy about what's going on. And there's like a tidal wave of mice that show up here. And as it so happens, all the monks are wearing boar skins. And it's another very clever play on their part, where basically a whole bunch of them show up, and they're all wearing boar skins, and they're like sliding around the ground, and it looks really creepy, because the eye holes for the boars are just black.
Mm-hmm.
So you can tell it's not real, but Okoto's blind, and he can only smell, and he's also badly wounded. So he thinks that, like I don't know, like a secondary regiment of boars just showed up in the woods, so he like gets his second wind. He's like, yeah! We're rallying the troops, guys. And it's like, not quite.
No, buddy, that's not what that
like,
is.
Sun sees through it, no problem. She's like, yeah, those aren't real boars, but he's not having any of it. And this was the scene that I think I mentioned to you off air, where Keith David, like, his vocal talent really comes into play, because Okoto's ramblings in the scene, in the Japanese version, he comes across as more resolute and more clear-headed. Mm-hmm. Whereas Keith David sounds like wounded and delusional, where it's like he sounds senseless, like he sounds like he's gone nuts, and it's a great performance. I mean, it always is with Keith David. Yeah. And at this point, San gets knocked the fuck out with a sling, which, ow, that's a concussion right there. And she falls on Okoto's snout, and then this is where the demon curse comes back.
Yeah.
So Okoto starts sprouting the wormy things, and it spreads to San, and the demon theme comes back, the music. It's, again, like, terrifying and well composed. And then Ash ambles down the mountain on Wolfback. And there's this really funny scene. That's another thing where I don't think I'm supposed to laugh, but I just do, where he jumps over the hunters. So his first move is to find Eboshi and tell her that, hey, Irontown's under attack. And what makes me laugh is that he hops off the wolf in like midair and he just like stands straight up in front of her and he says, Irontown's under attack. And then he just like takes off and runs the opposite direction away from her. It's like, it reminds me of like a little kid on a playground being like, I like you.
And then just runs away.
Yeah, he just runs away like a little coward or like spazzes out.
But she's like, we're going to go kill a spirit, or the spirit of the forest. I've taught them well, they'll be fine. Or more like, if they die, what are you going to do? I did the best I could with that group. But yeah, so he runs off, and now, yeah, San is actually, like, attached to, what's his name again? Not otaku. Too many Japanese words this month.
Okoto.
Okoto. She's, like, attached to him inside of his demon boredness. But as Ash is running up, he kind of just, like, so there's dudes underneath these skins of the boars, and he kind of like they're running almost together. Like he runs past them. He hops over them at one point, yeah. But they all kind of get there at the same time, more or less, in front of what's his face?
Okoto?
Yeah, Okoto.
Yeah. So they're basically arriving at the pool of water where the forest spirit lives, and Moro is here. And I've never seen a wolf with dark circles under its eyes. So this is a wolf with a hangover, apparently. Yeah. And it's funny here because, like, Ash has an exchange with them. It's like, we need to save San and stuff. And Moro's just like, I was just kind of, like, getting ready to die here, but fine. Fucking fine.
Yeah.
And yeah, Ash, unsuccessfully tries to save San from the top of Okoto's snout. He gets thrown around a bit, and Moro actually stops Okoto at the edge of the water and kind of stops him in his tracks, and they have an exchange here. And there's a neat moment where Moro's like pissy, like all piss and vinegar, and Okoto's just like covered in these dark worms and shit. Like he's full demon god at this point. And Moro just kind of like sneers at him, and the voiceover says like, you can't even talk now, can you? So like that thing that Okoto was saying about how like all of us boars have grown small and stupid. It's like, yeah, he's there now. Like he's no longer a boar god. He's just a big vicious animal, and you can tell it's like Moro's just disgusted by it. And then the forest spirit shows up, and it just casually walks up to both the giant wolf and the giant boar, and all the curse worms, all the demon worms, like die immediately, pretty much as soon as Okoto sees the spirit. So it's that fucking powerful. And Moro, I think, takes San off of Okoto's snout, like just kind of like bites her, just like kind of pulls her off, and says the line to Ash, like, can you save the girl you love? It's like, whoa, love? Let's not go nuts here.
Let's not go nuts. I give her a present, but I'm not in love.
Yeah, it's like, okay. Like, I know you're on your deathbed here, so I'll humor you, but I don't see a future. But yeah, Eboshi shoots the spirit of the forest through the neck, and it shrugs it off. And there's a funny line here where Eboshi's like, "Oh, it's a god. It might take more than one bullet." It's like, you think?
You think?
I mean, if it's that easy, jeez.
Dummy.
But yeah, both Moro and Okoto, like Okoto falls dead because the spirit of the forest touches him on the snout, I think, like kisses him basically, and he just drops dead. Moro, on the other hand, just kind of collapses, and as they had told us earlier in the movie, they're dying. They know it. But now we're transitioning from nighttime to daytime, and so the spirit of the forest starts to turn into its Nightwalker form, and Jigo seems to take. there's a lot of things Jigo knows in this movie that I don't know how he knows them.
Yeah, he shouldn't know these things. Well, I guess he's been observing. I think he's observing, and he's also making his own conclusions with stuff. I think that's kind of what he's up to. But he does seem
Well,
to be,
and
yeah.
yeah, he does seem like the kind of character that would, say that he knows something
Yeah.
without actually knowing it. Especially since he's very clearly manipulating Eboshi. So like, he's like, yeah, go shoot it, like, go do the thing. In fact, there's a line he said earlier that I didn't point out. That's like, if you're gonna kill a god, make sure someone else does it. Like, make sure someone else gets the kill shot, so you don't get the bad karma that comes with it. But yeah, the forest spirit is turning into the Night Walker, and we get to see the transformation, and it's almost the entire transformation happens in its neck. Like, it starts to stretch its neck towards the sky.
Mm-hmm.
It looks kind of like a giraffe, but with like a deer's body. And despite Ash attempting to intervene by throwing his sword into Eboshi's rifle, and by the way, she steps out of cover to do this. Like, she wants the glory that comes with this. She doesn't give a shit. She shoots the Nightwalker through the throat, and its head just pops right the fuck off.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this really cool animation moment here where I don't know what sort of techniques would go into this, but basically it looks like a water droplet forming on top of the neck stump, and like the rest of its body sheds like a skin, and what comes out of it is just this like goo. So it's this giant pile of goo that looks like a giant amoeba or something, and there's like from the impact on the neck, all these like droplets of goo kind of bounce all over the place, and it behaves almost like mercury or something. So it's like there's all these droplets of slippery goo all over the place, and everything the goo touches dies instantly. So this shit's dangerous, and this is where I started getting flashbacks to Akira. It reminded me of Tetsuo at the end of the movie. And I don't know what it is about Japanese animation, but a lot of very high budget Japanese animated films end in this fashion, with some kind of goo or some kind of like it's like Dante's Peak or Volcano or something, where it's like just some sort of chaotic force spreads like wildfire, and it feels like there's no hope, and the music gets really dire. It's just a thing that happens in a lot of them. I don't know why, but it does. So yeah, the goo's all over the place, and immediately Jigo makes a move for it, and he puts it in this iron box. There's a lot of comedic shots of him and his guys like carrying this box through the woods and stuff. But Moro actually gets hit by one of the goo droplets, and then the head starts moving. And what happens to the head, Kyle? the wolf head.
Oh, the wolf head bites Iboshi's arm off, doesn't it? It just like comes out. It's like the rabbit from Monty Python. It just fucking floats across the screen. Nobody was expecting that. You just see it literally like nothing tells you it's gonna happen. It just you see a wolf head come across the screen. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, it just wriggles through the goo and just whoop. Somehow it gets airborne and it takes her arm clean off. And like she had said once, like, just because a wolf has its head severed doesn't mean it can't still bite. And she's actually pretty cool about it. Like, she's like, I just lost an arm, no big deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, this begins the end game of the movie, which is all of our heroes kind of scrambling through the forest. The goo collects itself into the form of the Nightwalker, minus a head, by the way. And basically, it's looking for its head. And it's chasing all of our main characters. And for the most part, we're all headed back to Irontown. And Ash and San have a moment here where she's like, I hate all humans. And he's like, shut up.
Yeah.
He just kind of like hugs her and doesn't say much. He's just like, you're really hot, but just shh. Yeah, so the Nightwalker's chasing them through the woods, and the battle has subsided at Irontown. But there is a tidal wave of death goo coming towards them. all the attackers, Asano's men, like all the samurai outside the town, they get run the fuck over by the goo, so they die instantly.
Mm-hmm.
And Ash warns Irontown that, hey, get out. Like, I know you were told and you believe that defending the town is like the thing to do. It's not viable anymore.
Yeah.
Just leave. So it takes a second to convince them, but they understand that, yeah, it's time to go. The goo overruns the town. The bellows catch fire. So that thing that was said earlier in the movie, that like no matter what, keep it together, keep it together.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucked. So Irontown is just gone basically. And then Ash and San are chasing Jigo because he's the one that has the Nightwalker's head, and it's understood by our characters that if we can give the head back, all this insanity will stop. However, Jigo again knows something that I don't know how he knows it, but he says that like if we can get to sunrise, without this thing recovering its head, then it'll go away forever. Like it will die. So we have this situation where it's like, oh, maybe if we just hold out, maybe we can get it. It's like, no, none of our main characters want to see that happen. So there's no tension there, because there's no debate about this. We have a bad guy and a good guy, and things get really tense here. Jigo runs out of options. He's just like posted up on a rock with goo surrounding all sides of it. And he just kind of like rolls his eyes. He's like, "Fucking fine." He's like, thousands of people have died. Whatever. So they open the lid of the iron box that contains the head, and for some reason it's covered in green jello.
Yeah, I didn't understand that. It was kind of weird.
It's like the head is preserved, but it's like oozing green jello all over the place, and it's really icky. But San and Ash hold up the forest spirit's head. They do either the cover of Tron or the He-Man I Have the Power with it, and the Nightwalker actually just like envelops them. So it like dives. Well, it doesn't have a head, but like shoulders first on top of them, and just like goo everywhere. All the villagers and the soldiers reunite in the lake. The soldiers being the people from Irontown. So all the Irontown people reunite, including Gonza, who is not dead. I thought he was going to die. He did not. And then the Nightwalker actually, with its head back, collapses on the town. And it's understood that it died. Despite them giving back the head, it died.
Mm-hmm.
So the conclusion of this film is that pretty much, I guess all the spirits of the forest, the plural spirits of the forest, are dead. This actually made me think of, watching it last night, made me think of the game God of War 3. Have you heard of those games at all, Kyle?
I'm familiar, yes.
They deal with the Greek pantheon of gods, and the third game has this really cool theme where all the gods that represent elements and like forces in the universe, like death and like light and lightning and moonlight and things like that. Every time you kill one of them, because they're all the boss fights in the game, we get to see what that causes to happen. And so, like Poseidon's the first god that you kill, and immediately after he dies, the oceans rise, and we get to see like the Greek populace just like thrown into chaos. So it's like it puts a weird mixed feeling in your head where it's like, oh my god, I did that. It's like I'm acting out the will of this character, but I don't like what he's doing. And it made me think of that, where it's like, this is story of Princess Mononoke, I guess, is the story of man's rise to power in the natural world. It's like, spirits and stuff, bunch of hooey. But yeah, the closing of the film is basically like, despite all this chaos and violence that happened, pretty much everything's gonna come back to normal. Like Eboshi's gonna go back to scheming her schemes. Jigo's still working for the Emperor, and I'm sure is looking for a new hustle. And San is going to go try to rebuild the forest, and Ash actually says, I'm probably going to help Irontown.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Doesn't make any
given
sense.
That from an ideological standpoint, he is complete opposite of Eboshi. But yeah, it's a very Japanese ending where everywhere the Night Walker touched, of course, died. But as soon as it's gone, like the spirit of the forest shit happens, where life springs up, including on top of Irontown. And I mean the line that Jigo had earlier in the movie, I think, is the core of the movie, where it's like life goes on, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people live, people die. At the end of the day, tomorrow will come.
I think,
regardless of whether we're here or not.
I think Ash was going with the odds. He has a better chance of getting laid at Irontown than he does with just trying to make it work with Saw.
Oh man, he's gonna be
Cleaning
up to
up
his ears.
Yeah. Like,
I mean,
he's gonna have the sex appeal of what Steven Seagal thinks his sex appeal is. He's gonna be at that level.
No, he's gonna be getting it wet day in, day out, and
he's gonna be itchy.
he's gonna be just fine.
Yeah.
So he's the first open relationship in Japanese history.
Yes, correct.
It's like, yeah, I have a girlfriend. She lives in the woods. I also live in Irontown and sleep around a lot. It's okay though. It's an arrangement.
It's an arrangement.
We have an arrangement. She lives with the wolves. Yeah, I hang out with Jada Pinkett Smith a lot. I don't love her though.
I don't love her.
I don't have any emotions towards her at all. But yeah. The last shot of the film is a mossy forest and a kodama.
Yeah.
And then credits. So yeah, Kyle, how was your first Hayao Miyazaki movie?
I didn't like it very much. It was long, and the format I had to watch this on, I would have definitely appreciated the animation, like the actual artwork itself, better if I had seen it on Blu-ray. I did not see it on Blu-ray. And the streaming options for this were pretty much non-existent. I couldn't find anything that didn't have
Disney distribution, buddy.
No, I'm not getting that.
That's what I'm saying though. That's why it's probably hard to find.
Yeah. I'm saying, like, I'm not going to get the Disney, because it'll probably be on the Disney streaming app at one point.
I'm sure it will.
But yeah, I liked Ghost in the Shell much better. It was much more my environment. The story was fun. I'll give you that. Like the story was kind of fun, but they don't unpack it as well. They don't really develop the characters as well. But yeah, probably won't rewatch this one. I'm definitely gonna rewatch Ghost in the Shell at some point. I can tell you that much.
Nice. Would you be interested in watching the sequel at any time?
Of Ghost in the Shell?
Yeah,
possibly.
So same director, same characters.
Okay, I could definitely get into that, I'm sure.
There's a lot more CGI in the animation, but for the most part, it's 2D hand drawn.
Okay.
It's not a classic like the first one, but it's still pretty good. So yeah, maybe we'll watch that sometime.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I said up front, this movie is not like super important to me. Mostly, I wanted to have you watch it because I think it's very significant that it got a theatrical release in this country at a time period when we weren't doing that. Like, we're doing that today.
Yeah.
Pretty consistently. Like, Japanese animated films are big bucks these days. But in 1999, not really.
Not so much.
And they also bothered to, hire very, very good vocal talent to do the dub. Like, this was not something that people lacked confidence in. I mean, it was the Japanese Academy Award winner, and the highest earning animated film in Japanese history up to that point. So I think it's just like a cultural milestone that I thought was worth visiting. But Totoro is my favorite Miyazaki film and always will be. So maybe we'll do that someday. But anyway, next week I think I'm going to skip Your Name. That's a 2016 anime film that I've never heard better reviews for a film, I think, ever. People gush about that movie. I haven't seen it, so I can't vouch for it. But I think instead of doing that, I'm going to close things with Perfect Blue, which also came out in 1997. That's a Satoshi Kon movie, another different director. Darren Aronofsky has seen his films. Put that.
Oh, okay.
That being said, thank you for joining us as we caught up on cinema. And I guess we'll catch you next week.
Yep.